Hello and welcome to the Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix, an invitational tournament spanning 6 days with the best European teams fighting for a prize pool of $40,000. I'm Jared Jam, and for the next week, we'll be going ooh, ah, and wow together with a cracking team of casters and analysts, to which I have the utmost pleasure of introducing Craftman, Danny Boy. How are you doing?
Oh man, Jam, I'm very excited for this week. We've had an incredible weekend of Rocket League just passed, and now we have a full week of competition. Some of the best teams, if not the best teams in Europe, nevertheless the world. I'm really excited for the Grand Prix.
I can't disagree with that, Crafters, at all. I mean, some of the best you say, I think we've got the best region, the best players, and you know what, Jam, we've seen a couple of new teams signing in as well, so I think it's a good time to break them all down.
We might be a little bit biased for our own region, but I think I'll agree with my folks over here at the analyst desk. As mentioned before, the tournament will feature 12 invited teams, 10 teams that will be participating in the 10th anniversary season of RLCS, as well as 2 teams that we feel merited the invitation based on their impressive performance back when they played in Lethamir's Euro Cup 10,000. But to take a quick overlook as how the tournament is going to go, the name of the game is Double Elimination, which basically allows the teams a second chance at every stage of the tournament. We're going to start with 6 lowest seeded teams and run them through a double elimination bracket to find out the 2 most able rosters. Then, qualification stage winners join the top seeded teams on Thursday in a 2-group stage, battling for the seeding in the playoff, with 2 worst performing teams unfortunately leaving the tournament altogether. And finally, the tournament will culminate on Saturday and Sunday with a finale of 6 teams fighting for the grand prize of $20,000. And I think it's only fitting that this is the final event before RLCS Season 10 starts up. So we're getting one good last look at the teams and potential new rosters they're going to run. So could you give me a little bit of a look on the teams that we're going to see later, those top teams that are waiting for the for qualifiers right now?
Yeah, so looking at the 6 teams that we're going to see over the next couple of days, Jam, obviously, like you mentioned, the 6 lower seeded teams playing into the 6 higher seeded teams, which we'll see on Thursday and beyond. Looking towards, like I said, the teams that we're going to see over the next few days, Singularity, a team who's made a couple of changes, and really all 6 teams making big changes throughout the off-season. So seeing these guys coming into this tournament today, and of course throughout the rest of the week, it's going to be really telling, because this is going to be probably the closest we're going to get to see to what we're expecting to see in the RLCS Season X.
That's a very good point with that RLCS X. It is the last chance. It is also a sort of a free chance with some of these new teams who've got sort of this new third as well coming in, still testing, getting the possible errors out as well. You brought up Singularity. I mean, Endpoint as well. I mean, look at Mets on that roster as well. We've seen them in past tournaments come in. Good showing to be fair. But how good will he be in this type of climate?
The perfect chance to see just that. So I'm going to quickly throw a question back at you. Which team do you want to see the most?
Oof. Danny, you want to go for that one? I think I know the answer to your one, Danny.
Oh,
Don't we all?
That's the most easiest question I think I've ever been given. Team Liquid.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I can't wait to see what Team Liquid look like. Obviously, we're not going to see them until Thursday. But in the first couple of days, I'm excited to see what Singularity can do. Obviously, not the greatest season in RLCS Season 9 last time around, but now bringing in Metasonoris, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, see how that develops, and they're going to be a very interesting team to watch.
Well, speaking of the potential new additions to the rosters, let's go over the matches that are going to be happening today. We already mentioned Singularity, but we're going to be starting with Top Blokes versus Solari. Of course, Top Blokes Flame, Casio, and Archie, with Solari being represented by Exotic, Carrion, and Yukis. That is the new addition to that roster. What can you tell me about these 2 teams? How are they faring against each other? What are their chances, in your opinion?
Well, with that Jam there, you can look at the sort of situation. Breaking down the teams here. Looking on paper, I would say Top Blokes will have the more interesting run. New third player Archie came in, was seen in the likes of the Euro Cup and that Flame Casio, well strong. It's sort of that new bit of a dynamic when you have Freaky was defensive. Now the sort of the attacking style of it. So he's going to be interesting. Keep your eye on that as well. And technically speaking, sub and player as far as our knowledge goes as well. Rams_RL, of course, on Twitter. Fabulous coach, used to do the Bricks, now Team Liquid at some point. So they're in good hands too.
And as for Solari, obviously a fantastic run through the rival series last time around. Now swapping out for Yukis in favor of Melisishu. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic. I'm very interested to see what this team is like, because especially back in the spring series, that didn't go the way of Solari for the most part. So trying to rebuild themselves, and now obviously with RLCS X upon them, this is going to be a real proving ground for them for this week, especially against this sort of revitalized, we'll call them, X Veloci squad.
Yeah, I think the theme of rebuilding and trying to figure out what to do next, what the next steps are going to be, I think is going to be the theme of this week. Of course, the winners of Tablox and Solari are going to be playing against Giants, Tagzamu and Stake. This is the ex-RCD Espanyol roster. And really, they have been making impressive appearances as of late, it seems. And they are one of the invited teams, and I fully think that they should be here. We're going to talk about them more in detail later as their match is going to appear. Another first round match, of course, is going to be Endpoint CEX versus the Monkeys. And with Virtuoso relating wave Metsonaris being picked up for that roster. And they already had 2 months with Metsonaris to get everything gelling together. Now that the honeymoon period is over, how are you rating the acquisition of the player, the team as a whole? What is the general feeling about the Endpoint right now?
I think for me, I've got a lot of hope for Endpoint. I had a lot of hope for them last season as well. But now with Metsonaris, obviously veteran player, I think he's going to be more of a coach, I would say. He's going to coach the new up-and-coming people in Revelating Wave and Virtuoso to just sort of have that sort of veteran mentality. So I'm going to be interested to see how that works out. As for the Monkeys, Mate, Taz, and Ixo, that is a team of jokers if I've ever seen one. That's going to be... I'd love to hear the team comps from them throughout the week. That is going to be absolutely hilarious. But no doubt about their Rocket League abilities. They are such a solid team. And obviously that match coming up right after the first one we have here on stream. Again, I just cannot wait to see what these guys put up on the field.
Oh, I mean, you make some good points there. Vert, Relating Wave, those are two fabulous pairs there. Monkeys, I have a huge question mark though, Crafters. I mean, we looked at the simple point, going back to the stats is there. That team played incredibly well when Kaish was on them. Simply outstanding. Thought they maybe could have crept into the rivals or RLCS. But Isco coming from WDM Girls, okay. Let's see what they can actually do on, well, the biggest event until RLCSX.
It should be an absolute blast. Well, we're going to see them a little bit later on. And of course, either Endpoint or Monkeys will be playing against Singularity, though Noli and Scrub Killer have found themselves a new home over there. It's going to be an absolute blast. I'm going to look out for every single one of these teams. Just really, the display of Rocket League today should be on point. So let's slowly get into the initial match back in again. Tablox versus Solari. We're seeing two teams that really want to reinvigorate themselves, come back. What are your predictions in terms of who might take it? Who might be the standout player? Are you looking for anyone on that roster to make the real impression? Will it be the old combos of Flame and Cassia or Exotic and Carrion? Or are you thinking Archie or Yukis might steal the spotlight?
Obviously, looking on Tablox, I think I'm going to be watching Archie very closely, seeing how he fits into this ex-Veloci squad, because Veloci in the last couple of seasons, some people described them as boring and just very methodical, but they got the job done. Now you bring in Archie. Very interested to see how the dynamic of the team has shifted and if it's bringing a different philosophy. What about yourself, Danny?
I have to agree with you. Archie, in terms of a player, is incredible. Seen him about 2 years ago. Being in that bubble scene can provide some moments. It's just took a bit of time to develop. I'll miss Freaky in that team. I love the defensive 1-0 games. I know I'm a bit weird that way, but everybody likes seeing the higher scorer ones. But Yukis, part of the bubble scene, seeing the likes of Emer running around Magnifico, that was the team you were sort of going, if it was the old rival series, that was the one that was probably going to do it. now they've split up, went separate ways. He's got to make himself a staple. He has to make himself a commodity. If he doesn't do it here, I'm worried what's going to happen after Crafters.
This is some harsh words from Danny right now, but it is the absolute truth. Right now, this is your, as we mentioned, the last chance to prepare yourself for the full season. And if you cannot figure out your ins and outs, this might be pretty telling when we will come to the even bigger games. Of course, RLCS Season 10 is going to be the biggest celebration of Rocket League, really, with 32 teams initially joining all the top teams. It's going to be a blast. But first, of course, we need to get through this, and not in a bad way, in a very happy way. We'll have 6 days of Rocket League for you. Of course, you will be able to listen to this broadcast not only in English, but also in French on the Rocket Baguette channel, in Spanish on the Golden Dust Cap channel. Of course, the German broadcast, once again, will be on Firewall RL. And for the first time, we're joined by our Rocket Benelux folks streaming in Dutch. So if you want to see, the broadcast in your native language, be sure to check those channel outs. Give them a wave. I do wholeheartedly recommend French broadcast because they're always a bunch of energetic folks. Whoever's currently on the desk, yeah, no question about that. Even if you don't understand anything that's being said, I do recommend just tuning in for a moment. But the moment has pretty much come. I'm going to ask you for one last prediction. Craftman, Top Blokes versus Solari. Who's going to win and what's going to be the score?
In a best of 5 series here, I'm taking Solari in this one. I'm going to take the obviously the hot streak of Solari. Yes, they didn't have the best off season so far, but I still think they're a more solid team, more solidly put together team rather, than the Top Blokes are. I'm going to say it's close though. I'll say it's all 5 games, 3-2.
All right, that's going to be close. Danny, what about you?
I can understand why Crafters is going that way. I'm going to back an experience here. I'm going to go with Top Blokes. I think Archie's going to have a bit of fun here. Rams experience coach, 2 experienced teammates behind him. But I don't think it's going to go to 5 games. 3-1.
All right, well, predictions are in. Everyone is ready to go. There's only one thing to do. Get up, get loud. It is game day. Boyoroyo, Joessi, the field is yours.
Well, thank you, Jam, for that lovely introduction. Of course, as Jam said, it is me, Boyoroyo, joined, of course, by the amazing ego-inflated caster now, Joessi.
Yeah, this is the first time ever you've been nice to me. Normally we have a bit of banter in the cast. Thank you for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here, Boyo. We've been looking forward to this one for the longest time. We've been doing our cast here on the Rocket RB channel almost weekly, and now we get to cast some of the absolute best players to grace the pitch at this moment. And I just can't wait to get this started, to be honest.
And frankly, share the exact same opinion as you just say. I cannot wait to get this started, and a great first match we have as well. It's 2 really strong teams. Though everyone in this tournament is a really strong team. It's really every match is going to be great. But starting off, it's Top Bloke versus Solari, as they were saying on the desk. And I guess to follow suit from what they were saying, what are your predictions for this match?
Yeah, the desk was pretty divided actually. I wasn't quite expecting the 3-2 towards Solari. My personal favorite for this one would be Top Blokes. I'm gonna beg Danny on that one. I just think that the experience on that side will really pull them through, and especially Archie. The desk is told into extent and what they think he might bring to the team. I think he will be the extra offensive force that the team hasn't really seen before. I think it will work wonders for them, but they have to do it in game as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be on your side as well. I have got the Top Bloke side. I'm definitely going for them. I think Solari is a really strong roster. Exotic, an excellent player, and it's really hard to say about Yukas. Like, he is a really strong player. He was great on Magnifico, but this is new for him. They have not played together before in a tournament. So, I don't know if the team of Exotic, Kerr and Yukas is going to work. Like, that is an unknown factor. I think it could work, but we're going to have to find it out. So I am going for the Top Bloke side. Of course, they had their pretty much their decal added to the game with that amazing new suit decal. It's definitely something special, but something else that's special is we are finally getting underway with our first match of the day, Joessi. Top Blokes Solari, game 1. our first match of the qualifiers is a best of 5.
Finally, the Grand Prix is here. So the players, Flame is rocking that decal that you were talking about. The beautiful tux, he's looking good. And the good looking just continues on the side of Top Blokes. That's a beautiful infield pass, actually finishing it off and already showing off that offensive strength.
Showing off something else as well is, of course, our amazing overlay we've had made for the Grand Prix. And well, Joessi, I think when we first seen this overlay, we could not take our eyes off of it. It was definitely something to behold, and even still, watching these games, it's just amazing to see how far these overlays have came, and I really hope to see more advancement of them in the future, so sure keep an eye on some great stats over there. And well, I'm just excited for Rocket Grand Prix, to be honest, and a 1-0 start for Top Blokes, an amazing beginning, a great demo to start things off, but can Solary turn the favour? Up high the ball will go, Flame with a clear away. Upfield, met by Kerr. The boom out to the side, looking for that pass. Exotic, the drop down, centre Kerr, beat to the ball by Casio. Trying to get that clear away now. Exotic rushing back to net. Top Blokes straight back on the attack, hunting to make it 2.
It's a bit of a boom again happening right now. Just a lot of long clears on both sides. Not taking the ball slow, but keeping it in control. As I say that, of course, Flame does try and do exactly that. Archie to the side as well. Yukis misses that. That's another opportunity. Casio gets a shot, gets the goal. It's 2-0 for Top Blokes.
2-0 to Top Blokes. Great pass from Archie, and who can score it off the bat ball straight to Casio. He'll be able to finish that off. 112 km/h shot. They'll find the back of the net. 2-0 Top Blokes. An explosive start, only 90 seconds in. Can they keep this up? And it's a touch on what we were talking about earlier with the Top Blokes side. Archie, that player who, I guess, a lot of eyes are being laid on for Top Blokes, and coming from the clappers that Archie, Joras and Calic's team, he was, I think, my favourite player on that team to watch. He had the most promise for me. I think Joras as an individual is a really strong player and probably one of the biggest upcoming talents, but Archie in a team dynamic is one of the best assets you can have, and I think that's shown on Top Blokes with how well he is merged in with this roster of Flame and Casio. He's really quickly started working well with these guys as a team, and they've got some good wins under their belt, and they're looking to find another one against Solari right down today.
Yeah, great start there. And like you said, RG is someone that we've seen a lot in the bubble scene from, and we knew that he was a name to watch and an upcoming player. But it's really just impressed me how easily he's really switched up this style of play. He used to always be this carry, almost the style of Astral would be the first one to come to mind, just because he's so strong mechanically. But he's really changed it up and really plays as a team player. It's lovely to see, and it's working out wonders so far for Top Blokes in this first game.
Well, with half the game gone, Solari not very prominent in the offense. Only 2 shots taken in total. A potential chance now to carrying up, beat by Flame. Rushing for that ball, he will find a save. A demo on Yukis now. Exotic. Have to take his time, wait for the respawn. Flame over 1. A good bump on Yukis. The follow-up coming in, not going to make it in time. Kenny can take control. Over 1 he'll go. Low on. Booth cannot continue. Archie up high. Looking for the pass out. Past 1. Flame can't make it in time. That's to the bat ball. Kenny trying to take control, but Top Blokes so aggressive. Going for the bumps, going for the demos, not giving Solari a chance to breathe. Finally a counter-attack chance, but shut down instantly.
But it feels like Solari's just pushing up too far every single time. Normally, I'm not a fan of the big clears coming out from Top Blokes, but it's working because Solari's just pushed up so far. The ball gets hurled over their heads. They can't get it anymore, and it's just another term of pressure coming out from Top Blokes. 2 more chances here. Casio finds the goal. Make it 3 in this one, Boyer.
Top Blokes are dismantling this defense at the moment, and they're so well positioned there. Just always ready for the follow-up. Looking at that minimap, you can just see they're constantly rotating around, ready for that follow-up, ready for their teammate to miss. As soon as that miss happens, they are there to finish it off, follow-up, find a pass, and that team cohesion is exactly what they need to have. They need to know to trust their teammate, but be ready for them to make a mistake.
A bit unfortunate on the go, I feel, as well. I thought there was a save coming in, but I think one of the Solari players actually ended up saving the save so that it turned on into a goal anyway. A bit unfortunate there on the side of Solari, and right now they're really struggling to get into this game. They're just being outpaced. They're missing balls that you would expect these kind of plays to just hit to the side. And they put it into danger anyway, and on the other side, Archie just seems absolutely in his element. He's a natural at this level of play.
Archie loving life at the moment. 1 goal, 2 assists, 100% goal participation. That I said about him being the playmaker of the team, he is that asset that any team will want to have. And it pre-improves finally with 2 amazing saves. Barely keeping it out, keeping the clean sheet intact. And at this stage, it doesn't matter if that goal went in, it's just for the stats at this stage. 3-0 top blokes in game 1. 10 seconds left, and what a dominant start to this series, Joessi.
For sure, it's going to make not even Solary very scared, but the upcoming opposition will definitely not be too happy with this showing from top blokes as well, as they put in yet another, just for good sake. I don't even know what top blokes is doing at the moment, but it's looking really good, way better than Solary in this first game.
4th goal for top blokes and still 100% goal participation for Archie. Just to top it all off, can Cassie will find the 5th just for the fun of it as it drops down in front of net. He finds a pass out to play. What can't this team do? 5-0. What a game 1. They are showing us what they're ready for.
Oh, at this point, what do you do as Solary? Because it's 5 goals. It's not just you've just barely lost. You got absolutely destroyed here in this first game by top blokes. They really need to change a lot of things here after this first game.
And as we can see from our stat sheet, Archie the MVP of that game, and most touches on the field as well. He's constant pressure, topping all the stats pretty much. Most goals, most assists, most shots, most saves, most ball touches, most time in the air. The possession from top blokes for 1, 63%. They had constantly had pressure. They were constantly having the ball in the Solary half, putting pressure on, finishing their chances, which is the most important part. They were getting shots and they were scoring them.
Yeah, and just overall Solary, I feel like they were too much in each other's space. They weren't spaced out well, and it just made it so that all of them were approximately guarding the same part of the pitch and guarding the same ball. It just made it very awkward, and they couldn't ever get out of that pressure coming in from top blokes. But I really love the way that they've done it, because basically with Freaky, what we used to see is them just sitting in net and having the rotations, but now they have those exact same rotations but in offense, and it's so hard to defend against. Just take Solary as an example.
Yeah, I think what was touched on earlier on the desk is that people have the complaints of the top bloke side, you know, calling them a boring team, a team that isn't the most fun to watch at times, but I think that's definitely changing for a lot of people, and this is becoming a team to behold and enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Danny was saying that his prediction, or at least his opinions, might be a bit controversial on this side of top blokes, because, well, they are this boring team, but with the way that they're playing now, it's not that case at all. They are very offensively minded, and to be honest, they've gone from a boring team to watch to an absolute treat.
You know, I would agree with you. I think that their play style worked. It was effective, but in terms of being fun to watch and for viewers, it wasn't the kind of, I guess, preferred thing to watch. And
yeah, they're flashy.
This change though is they keep that kind of tight defense and really strong kind of counter-attack ability, but it had it with such a powerful offense in Archie. He's making these amazing passes, he's making these great shots, and I think with him up front, it's really changed the team dynamic, but in a way better way.
Yeah, for sure. But if we're going to talk about team dynamic, we have to look at the other side of the pitch as well. On the side of Solary, Yuki's coming in fresh off that Magnifico squad, which is basically the same sort of level that Archie used to play as, but Archie just seems much more natural in his setting. Obviously, there's a different teammates that you play around. I think Archie is really allowed to play that carry role, whereas Yuki is kind of more slotting into a team reliant role, a bit more supportive. But overall, he's just been really invisible in this first game, and I really would like to see him step it up.
I really would like to do so, and we're going to quickly test the server, get things sorted, so we'll be back in moments time. But I guess we've touched a lot on top blokes, and as we were starting to get to, over on the Solary side, Yukison, has he worked? Has he became a good part of that new team dynamic? Is he working out at the moment? My answers are currently no, but we didn't get much chance to see him. He wasn't really doing much that game, and we need to see more of him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just in general, Solary seemed really shaky. Like I said before as well, they really need to sort out the communication. And you need to start playing as a unit, because that's the way that we saw them really just dominate throughout the RLRS and get their spot into the RLCS, which obviously isn't quite RLCS anymore, but still, that was a feat and a half, and they had insane stats throughout that entire tournament. But it seemed like Malishisu back then was already the guy to look out for and sort of the carry of the team, and Yukis just hasn't been performing at the same level. I can't fault him for it, but it is hurting the team as a whole.
It certainly is, and I do hope to see him step up. He is that kind of young prodigy player that we want to see the best from, we want to see improve, and I think we will see that. I think over time we will see Yuki kind of rise to the top. Of course, on Magnifico, he was an excellent player, along with the Rare Atomic duo. That team had now split up, and these players have went their separate ways trying to find their teams. But I think every single one of them has that capability to rise to the top and really, really start pushing. And of course, we now have RLCS the grid, which is going to be coming up and taking place. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of those teams, or players on those teams participating in there.
Yeah, for sure. It's just there's gonna be a lot more Rocket League, and it's gonna really show who is gonna be the absolute top of the RLCSX, because there's just so many more tournaments that you have to play, that you have to perform well in before you actually know which teams are good. We're gonna have all those games now, and just having this Grand Prix, I can't stress it enough. The desk has talked about it as well, but this is basically sort of the kickoff for RLCSX in Europe, I believe. It is the first look at the absolute best rosters that the region has to offer.
Yeah, especially since the RLCSX roster lock is coming next week. It is in a week's time that will be the case. So these teams are wanting to try out these rosters and make sure things are set, ready to go, up to perfection. And this is what this tournament's for, so I expect teams to be playing to their best ability. They've got a lot to prepare for. And, well, I'm excited for RLCS, I'm excited for the Grand Prix that continues. We are going to get some very high quality Rocket League.
For sure. And I'm getting the impression that we're almost ready to get us straight back into that high level action that you're talking about. Bit of server issues. All is fine now, and the teams are ready, but it's gonna hurt the top blokes just a little bit. You've just come off a 5-0 win. If you were to carry on that momentum, that would have been one hell of a start for your game 2. Unfortunately, a bit of a break, but for Solary, a bit of time to reflect on what happened in that game 1.
Definitely a bit of time, and the players are just getting ready to come in. Obviously going to expect your answer to be, I think I know what your answer to this question will be, but do you still have top votes winning game 2?
I think it's just going to be more of top blokes. I think they are going to continue where they left off, shows why they are looking so strong as a team. Archie, the man of the match in making for me.
Man of the match in the making, I think, for sure. But as we get game 2 underway, will they be able to keep that up? So they're yet to score this serious game 1, a 5-0 defeat. And I think anything better than that will be a nice change. I don't think they want to get 5-0 once again, as that would definitely not boost the morale for that lower bracket, which will be starting off tomorrow. So let's see if they can turn things around. Kerr straight on attack, looking to do exactly that. Flame will meet the ball in defense. The ball drops down. Yukis cannot go to the way past Archie. The pass back to Flame. The pressure on Solary. They're trying on the attack. They're making the shot, but Archie, the man in defense, finds the save. What's he not doing? But Casio on attack now to try and do it all himself, but saved by Exotic. Archie with a pass back now. Straight back to Flame. Yukis upfield. A good connection.
Oh, yes.
That's a goal. Finally on the score sheet, Solary. They find their first goal.
I don't know what they did in that break, but I would love to see more of it. That's such a great clear from Yukis. Absolute banger towards Kerr, who was in a perfect position as well. And I love to see that. You do not want to do nothing after you've been taken out of the rotation. You find yourself upfield, you make yourself available for the pass, and a quick counter-attack from Solary puts them in a driving seat for game 2.
Exotic upfield to try and make it 2. The great dunk, the drop down, Kerr rushing in, can't find it in time. Yukis the pass back in centre. The Exotic has to back off, low on boost. Yukis finds the mid. Gonna fall under the ball. Archie back in attack now to find this. Equaliser the pass to Flame. That's up high. Casio looking around, ready to go for the ball. Barely beaten to it. Archie the tap back, met by Exotic. Another chance for Solary. That's a shot off the crossbar, barely missing out. 1-0 the score remains. Solary are looking like a different team at the moment.
You say they're looking like a different team, and I agree, but that still should have been a goal from Exotic. He just missed that shot, even though it was completely open. The demo broke up that defense, and yet they couldn't find the goal, which is gonna hurt them, because I do think that this Top Blokes team is very resilient and can absolutely come back in a game like this. Oh, but not to Carrion slots that in.
Well, you're talking about Top Blokes coming back. They've got a higher deficit to come back from now. Is Solary. They extend their lead to 2. Oh, a great shot from Kerry and Lucas, a lovely pass in. 2-0 Solary. An excellent turn around, but there's still 3 minutes left of this game. Plenty of time for Top Blokes to come back. As Flame and Net will barely find that save. Solary is not going to slow down. They're putting the pressure on right away, and they want to extend their lead as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, for sure. Even 2 goals against this Top Blokes side might not be enough, because they can strike out of absolute nowhere. We've talked about Archie, we've talked about their skill, and you can just basically, whenever you see him on the ball, you can expect absolute magic to happen, and a goal to fall out of nowhere. That miss almost being detrimental. Now on the other side, Yukis brings it back, can't find the pass though. Oh, he does actually. No follow-up there. Very awkward still though for Top Blokes.
A double commit, but it does work out. Exotic flying and stealing that ball from Yukis, but he will find the goal either way. 3-0 Solary now, and what a turnaround this has been.
What a team play there as well. That was a burst of double commits, but working out on the side of Solary, and the entire game has just completely shifted on its head, Boyer. You saw the first game so strong for Top Blokes, 5-0, which is such a big deal in competitive Rocket League, and now on the other side, Solary just completely switches it around and says, you can win 5-0, well, we'll just be up 3 after 3 minutes.
3-0 already to Solary, and with 2 minutes left on the clock, can Top Blokes come back? And you know, you talked about Solary in a bit of time to regroup, recuperate, get ready for this next match, and I think they've done exactly that. They've prepared for this match after that bit of connection issues, getting things ready for game 2, and they took full advantage of the time they've had. They have got straight into 5th gear and are going full out, trying to take down their Top Blokes side. It's not easy to take out, but Solary are showing that it's definitely possible.
Ooh, and yet another try for a chance for Top Blokes, but they can't quite find the passes that they did manage to find in that game 1. I do like that demo though, that seemed to be working well for them in the first game too, but at least 1 or 2 goals like that. But right now, Solary's defense looking much stronger than game 1. And the misses coming back on the side of Flame. You gotta be hitting those kind of balls. He just sails past.
Well, 1 minute left. Top Blokes, they need to score on this next attack to have any hope of taking this game. Upfield the ball will go. Casio, the drop down. That's the goal. There is still hope, but 2 goals needed. It's gonna be a tough one.
It's a minute to go. Carrion couldn't find the clear. Flame had that clear, and then getting the demo just for good fashion as well. Casio very quickly gets the goal, and now Top Blokes yet another chance in this game.
Another chance. Casio winning on the kickoff, trying to find the follow-up, fed to the ball by Kerry and sent it back to Archie. Top Blokes need to act fast. Time is not in their favour. The drop down, Solary, they're trying to run down the clock, take control, finding another to secure the game, and that will surely be it. But 2 goals needed in 30 seconds. This has got to be it for Top Blokes. Casio to Archie on the dribble, trying to fake out Yukis off the back wall. The follow-up not there in time. Great defending by Solary, but that's coming in centre. It could be a chance. The pressure remains. Archie back round the corner, coming in centre. Flame, a shot. Oh, bomb. There's 20 seconds. 1 goal needed. Top Blokes have a chance.
Oh, and it looked like so long Solary were the ones that were going to take this, but now the pressure is all on them. 2 people, both Casio and I believe it was Archie, just absolutely hunting for that bump or demo. They did find it. The shot was good enough. Now 2-3, 20 seconds to go. Flame puts it up high. Casio wanted to go, but Flame called him off. Still follows it up. Bump trying to be getting there. Archie can't quite find a good touch now. That clear has got to be it for Solary.
Gotta be it. You know, trying to follow up, can't make it in time. Flame, a last-ditch effort. Cannot get the launch up. Field Exotic trying to send this to the ground. Archie will not catch. Sorry will take game 2, but that became very close at the end.
That was definitely much closer than Solary wanted it to be. They had such a strong showing for the first half of the game, even more than first half, for like the first 4 minutes. And then in that last minute, you got a bit scared of the goals coming in from the side of Top Blokes. But I especially like the bumps and the demos that Top Blokes are going for. Whenever one of them finds themselves in front of the ball, in between basically the ball and the goal, they'll be hunting for that goalie, and it's so hard to see it coming, and it's working wonders for them. Yes, they lost this game, but they got 2 cheeky goals by it.
Yes, some great demo plays, great bump plays. I always love to see them. You know, earlier on, just after that game 1, we were talking about what is Yukis' role in this team? How is it going to work? I think we found exactly what his role is.
Yeah.
3 goals scored for Solary, 3 assists found for Yukis. I think we know exactly what he's doing for this team. He is making those passes, making those plays, giving the opportunities to his teammates, and really they're taking full advantage of it. They were able to find 3 goals, 1 apiece now. How will game 3 unfold for us, Joessi? That's the real question.
I'm not sure. What I do think is very interesting is if we look at the time spent in the air, a lot more on the side of Solary, and Top Blokes just playing the entire game on the ground, but it seems like they're getting outpaced in the air. They're letting Solary do their stuff when we didn't see that big a discrepancy after that game 1, so that might be something to look out for. Top Blokes should be forced to play in the air, and then Solary put themselves into a very good position here in game 3.
Well, game number 3, the turning point for both teams. If Solary can keep this up and take it to match point in their favour, it'll be a great turnaround at Top Blokes. Was that game just a blip? They started coming back near the end. They started looking a lot more confident, back to their former selves. Will game 3 come to show a similar story to game number 1? We're going to have to find out in 5 minutes' time. The Flame brings the ball out centre, looking for that pass, and no one there to receive. Clear away, upfield, Solary looking for the counter, not working out just yet. Archie going to back off, but Flame working around, ready to attack Exotic, up the sidewall. Archie beats the ball, the drop down, Casio trying to continue it. Yukis is ready, Solary meeting these balls in the midfield, sending them straight back to the Top Blokes net, and putting that pressure on non-stop.
But I do think the passes right now for Solary are always connected. Oh, that's a terrible miss though, Flame. 1-on-1 against Exotic. He can't quite find the pass, nor the shot. That's a bit unfortunate on the side of Top Blokes.
Archie,
that would have been a crazy angle there.
Oh, go on Archie, do it again. He was so close to forcing his way through. But the score remains now for the time being. Backing off is Kerr. The pass out to the side where Yukis awaits. Upfield to the backboard, met by Flame. The drop down to Casio, looking to do it all again. The pass, he sees Archie down. Not able to find the touch. Kerr beats him to it. The aggression from Solary working out really well in their favour. They're attacking these plays before they can start to develop. Shutting the chances down. Constantly going for the ball. Constantly keeping that pressure on. Finally a chance for Casio as he goes upfield. But Yukis has control of the ball. The drop down, out to the side. Yukis a great touch. Walking Archie's pass away. Not going to work out yet for Top Blokes, and Solary instead straight on the attack. That's to the corner. The drop down, Archie to clear away. Upfield it'll go to the back wall. Another chance for Top Blokes, but no one there to follow. Where is the follow-up?
And it's so close though between these 2 teams right now. Boy, we saw 2 very one-sided games before, but now both teams just kind of taking it a tad slower, trying to find these slow plays, get their teammates set up rather than just shooting the ball forwards. You see it there as well. That's a beautiful passing play coming out from Top Blokes. The shot isn't too dangerous, so this one might be. Actually, almost beating out his direct opponent. Couldn't quite manage to do it. But a lot of chances on both sides, but none of them are too dangerous.
Get in. Leading the ball for Exotic. Upfield he'll go. Archie a chance, a wide open net. It's going to slip in. Top Blokes finally have the lead.
And obviously, just as I talk about it not being too dangerous, Archie just sneaks the ball past from the midfield. There should be someone back there for Solary. Nobody was. You can see exactly what happened there down left in the mini-map. But now Top Blokes leading in this game. Solary trailing once more, just like they did what game 1. They couldn't bring it back then. We still have yet to see the loser of a game score a goal. But Solary will be hunting for it.
We'll take the ball upfield. Over Yukas, trying to continue, taking it slow. A great save from Kerr. The ball away for Archie. He's up high. Can't find a second touch. The fake for Casio. That's going to be another 2-0 top blokes. And they found their stride in game number 3.
Very good there, Archie. I thought he was going to get the touch, and so did Exotic and Kyrian. I think Yukic gets beaten now by that shot from Casio. Great placement. Bottom left corner, and now 2 for top blokes.
2-0 top blokes. 2 minutes left. A familiar story for the Solary side. Yet to score a goal in game number 3. Will we see the same again? Yukic trying to change that with a pass upfield. Not going to work out. Flame. Look for that counter attack. Coming off the bat wall. Archie looking around. Will not find a touch, but Casio's there instead. To the bat wall, it'll go. Yukic gets the clear. Kerr beating the ball by Flame. Yukic continues to play to the backboard. A chance saved by Casio. A clear away up to Flame. And top blokes are not letting anything slip by. Constant clears, constant pressure. They are playing amazing in game number 3.
For sure, and it's yet again that very aggressive play style. Well, there's 2 defenders back, but the third is just lingering upfield, trying to receive the pass and make it so that they can immediately transition into offense, or they just go for bumps. That's another great idea too. Now Flame almost getting that crazy angle off of the backboard. Good defense on the side of Solary. Dismantles that one. Now the pass infield. Yukic, can he find a double? No, he can't, because Archie's on the backboard and he gets that cleared.
Archie ready for the ball. Kerr trying to force his way through with a double tap. Not going to work out. Exotic looking for the pass, but a demo on Yukic will say otherwise. Instead, Casio free ready to go upfield. Face out Kerr. Over 1 to the bat wall. Yukic is there to take control, but Flame ready for the pop out. We'll just keep the pressure going. Time running out. 30 seconds left, and top blokes are on the attack. This has surely got to be their game, Joessi. The 30 seconds 2-0. Sorry, do not have the time to bring this comeback.
No, I don't think they're going to be able to do it in this game either. Boyer, only 25 seconds to go. They need to find one now, and then quite preferably over the kickoff as well. They might just find it here, but Casio gets it cleared, and the seconds just ticking by. It seems like we're yet again going to see a game in which the opponents do not manage to score. It's just the winners who manage to find the back of the net.
Well, as the clock ticks down, the ball will touch the ground, and top blokes will take game 3 and send themselves to match point. It's just now a matter of can somebody find a goal in this deal second? No, it will be shut down. Top blokes 2-1 in the series. Game 4 could be the end.
And Archie once again, just such a strong showing, gets both a shot, goal and an assist on his tally. But Flame getting a lot of ball touches right there, just seemed to be everywhere when he needed to be, always pressuring that ball whenever Solary had some sort of time, some sort of moment to really set up an attack. He was there to cancel exactly that and pressure them into basically just giving the ball away.
And you're seeing just how dominant top blokes were in terms of boosted well. You're looking at the boost consumption and tallying it all up, it's top blokes having about 400 just about boost consumed more than the Solary side. So they were rotating around the pitch, they were taking these 100 boosts, taking these small pads. They were being really clinical with it as well. They were not giving Solary a chance to recover, not giving them a chance to get an attack, because there was always someone from top blokes there ready to ruin the day.
And it's interesting as well because we saw a lot of demolitions coming out from top blokes in those first few games, and that was the main way how they found the goal. In game 1 they had at least 2 demos, then a game 2 as well. But this game, it didn't really feel like their demos were that often. They were just very well timed, whereas on the side of Solary they had more demos, but they weren't as calculated as on the side of top blokes.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think Solary trying to kind of fall into that top blokes play style they've seen working, of getting the demos, getting the bumps, and eliminating the opposition is a 2v3 these and a 3v3 to be totally honest. But as we head to game 4, match point for top blokes. Solary need to win this to stay in the upper bracket, otherwise we'll be seeing them tomorrow out down in the lowers. Top blokes, of course, if they can take this game, we're facing up against the Giants Gaming later on today to try and get that spot in the winners final, but that of course still to come with a pass to Casio, making it ever so closer. What a shot!
Oh, I love this. This is prime Rocket League for me. Don't go for the shot there. Just pass it to your teammate waiting in the middle because he's going to take an absolute banger. 125 kilometers an hour there for Casio. Great placement too. And Top Blokes yet again taking the lead in this game. And I do feel like this might just be the last game that we see between these two teams.
I think it might just be as well, Joessi, as Archer takes the ball high, straight on attack. A similar story the whole way through. I feel like I'm repeating myself constantly, and I'm always saying Top Blokes are on the attack, but finally something changed. But slowly, they've got bricks in their eyes, they can't see where they're shooting, they've missed every single opportunity possible, and the score remains 1-0. What on earth were they shooting at?
Oh, it's heartbreaking because it wasn't the first time this series that it happened either. That first game wasn't clinical from Solary as well, but those were two prime opportunities really, and opportunities that should have been scored, but it seemed that we have seen them score time and time again. Today apparently just isn't their day.
It is definitely not their day. So they have looked better and been better. We've seen them even this series, game number 2, with such a good turnaround. They were looking like such a cohesive unit, a strong team, a difficult force to mess with, but they've regressed over time. They're back to that game 1 way. They are missing shots, they're giving Top Blokes so many chances, they're missing easy touches, they're missing easy saves, and it's upsetting to see. This team was looking so good, I had so much promise for them. There's another missed chance, finally closed out, and Exotic can just tap that one in. But what on earth has this game been from Solary?
That was such a good dunk though from you kids, just getting completely a clutch assist there. Gets it onto the corner, the post, almost scoring it himself. Looked quite wasn't in his favor, but the goal goes in. He won't be too unhappy with that. Solary finding that goal that they so desperately needed.
And this is the first time that Solary have returned a favour to that Top Blokes goal, and they've done it once again. 2-1 now on the side of Solary, finally getting their stride. A good pass from Exotic, and Yukis easily beating out Flame.
And I was so sure that this was going to be the last game, boy, because now every single game that we saw so far was goals from the winners and the losers didn't even get to have a chance almost. But now Solary completely switching it around, taking matters into their own hands, getting one dunk and now this play as well, now leading this game, putting themselves back into this series. And I think one person on the desk might be right. I think there's a possibility we might be seeing a game 5 coming up here.
You might just see a game 5 of Solary. They're starting to get back into things now, slowly but surely, but Top Blokes, we know what they have up their sleeve, and well, I think Solary should be cautious and worried about that. It actually pushes upfield, and they show exactly what that is. The pass in centre, out to Casio. The shot barely saved by Exotic. The pressure can continue. Exotic, well done upfield. A great pinch centre. Kerrian's up. That's a tap down. That's gonna go in. Solary, they are doing so well now. They have turned things around in a matter of minutes.
What a dunk there by Exotic. It turned out to be a pinch as well, and Kerrian absolutely gorgeous positioning, was far enough back so that he had the opportunity to still go for that, slot it into the back of the net. And what a comeback we've seen here for Solary.
3-1 to Solary. What a turnaround, 2 minutes left. Top Blokes, of course, we've seen them almost playing that comeback in game number 2. Can they do the same again? Up high, Exotic, the clear away. That's into Kerrian, coming in centre, no one to follow up in time. And Archie looking for that clear away. The pass out, over to Casio, back to Archie once again, getting beat to the ball. Kerrian rushing for the touch, not going to find it. Up high it will go, to the backboard. Solary want to make this free. A 2-goal lead is definitely not safe, and they know that fine well. Game 2 was way too close for comfort for them. They do not want a replica of that.
No, for sure, but on the side of Top Blokes, they lost their creativity. It's all very much straightforward what they're trying to do. Every single ball is just a pass to their teammates, but then it's not even a perfect pass, and there's always someone that can just intercept that ball and then put up the pressure onto Top Blokes. They can't really find their way out of defense at all, Boyo.
Yeah, Top Blokes found the winning formula, but Solary found it as well, and Top Blokes, they've not adapted to that change. They've not worked around this. They're playing the same way, and so they know what they're going to do now. They know how to counter, they know how to play against this. They done it in game 2, You know, game 1 was a dominant win for Top Blokes, so already figured it out. They figured out what to do to beat it. And we've seen Top Blokes, you know, change things around at the end of game 2, and they've brung things closer. But they need to do the same now. They've got 40 seconds left, otherwise we will be going to a game 5, and a series that looks so dominant for the Top Bloke side.
And I think the biggest issue is with how much offense Top Blokes is able to get. I feel like as soon as they get this offensive pressure, they're a top tier team. I love the way that they go for passes. That's a great save there. But I love the way that they go for these infield passes and don't just take shots that are very easily saved. Instead, they keep up the pressure, keep the rotations, and then take the shots only when they actually have a very good angle. But as soon as they're stuck on defense, they can't really find each other. They can't find their way out of their own defense.
Certainly so, the clock dies down, the game will be over, and we'll be heading to the game 5, our first series of the Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix, and of course it's going to go to a game 5. What else is better fitting, Joessi?
We've seen the script and it's a good one, boys. You want to stay here all week, and game 1 or series 1 is definitely one to deliver right here. Solary versus Top Blokes. I had my doubts about it, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a one-sided affair. I really thought that Yukis might be struggling together with Exotic and Kerr, and that we would just see Archie popping off on Top Blokes. However, Yukis has adapted absolutely beautifully throughout the entirety of this series, and interestingly enough, Solary has really adapted to the entirety of the game. Everything was played on the ground. Solary adapted and came out on top.
Yeah, Solary have done so good at returning in these games. Game 2 they've done it, game 4 they've done it. Unfortunately there isn't a game 6, so they're going to have to do it again in game 5, otherwise it's going to be all for nothing. But they're a team who can figure someone out and can counter it. They've done it twice now, they've showed us their ability, but Top Blokes need to take note of this. They need to change something up. Solary have got them down to a T.
For sure, and I think their main issue should be just really looking for each other out of defense. If they can find these clears towards each other, or start to get more of a solo play style where they dribble the ball out of defense, I think they're going to have an absolute treat of a game ahead of them. But if they keep playing into Solary's game style, they're going to be in lots of trouble here in game 5.
Well, as game 5 commences, the last one of the series, Solary Top Blokes, who will find the win? Solary, straight off the bat, already 1-0 up, not even 10 seconds needed, and Yukis will find the opening goal.
Oh, what a dunk there though by Kerr, and absolutely reading that 50 to perfection. It's straight to Yukis, the goal is there as well. Solary now leading, and we thought they were going to struggle so hard after that game 1, boy. You know, 5-0 to the side of Top Blokes, but you need to be able to carry it through an entire series, and that's just not been the case here as they trail once more against this Solary side. Almost a second goal being dropped in there. A great shot there, but not quite in.
A close one, Solary a 1-0 lead, looking to make it 2, the drop down off the backboard, not going to find the back of the net. Joessi takes the ball high, looking for another, not working out, the drop down. Coordinate it will go. Casio needing to break out, they're stuck in defense, the shot's coming out. It's getting difficult for Top Blokes. They are low on boost, they are barely making these saves. It's already taking full advantage of it. 1 minute in, 1-0. Top Blokes finally getting an attack for probably the first time this game. But instantly getting shot down, they cannot sustain that pressure. Solary is not letting them.
Oh, this is a chance though. Archie finds the goal. Casio got it into the corner, and just one defender stuck back. Couldn't quite do a lot there. Kerr wanted to challenge it into the corner, realized he was too late. And a great shot puts Top Blokes straight back into this game 5.
They're straight back in. A close affair, 1 apiece. Both games Top Blokes have won, so they were unable to score. So that trend is going to have to change if they want to take this serious. The ball travels high. Solary looking to do it again, looking to make it 2-1. Instead, the ball will be saved. A counter upfield. Yukis the last man back. Upfield to Exotic. Great pass and plays. That's at the backboard. Exotic trying to follow up, but cannot make it in time. Instead, Casio, a 1-on-1. A clear away. Archie narrowly avoiding that demo. And instead, it's Yukis now with a clear out to the side. Exotic barely slipping under. But a close game this has been so far.
What I loved there though was that loss of a 50 for Archie. When you're in defense, you don't necessarily have to win the 50-50, because if you win it, it just goes straight back to your opponent. If you slightly lose it, it will put the ball in a great position for your teammate, and that is very dangerous from Archie. Can't really be punished though on the side of Solary. They should have probably done more with that. Just dropped straight into net, but they couldn't even find the shot.
Top blokes back on attack. The ball travels high, no one to follow up. Exotic, a free touch in the midfield. Archie finally coming in. 50-50. Coming out to Casio. Able to find the dunk though. Cleared away, half the game gone. 1 apiece. Game 5 proven to be a close one, proven to be a close series. Closer than we were initially expecting, I would say. I was definitely going more on the side of a top blokes 3-0, 3-1. But sorry, proving me wrong. Instead might find a win of their own. And a piece. Flame out to Archie, up high to make it 2. The drop down, no one there to follow up. Casio continuing the pressure once again, bumped in the process. But Flame comes in, trying to find that opening, trying to find that chance, but it's shut down constantly.
And I love it when Casio is in that third position where he's the last one back to be getting the pass. Often from Flame, almost getting the goal for himself there. But as a first man, he's constantly looking for the shots by himself rather than looking for the pass. He does so there though. Archie tries to find Casio straight back. A lot of passes coming in from top blokes. It's just the last one. It doesn't seem to be quite pitch perfect. Makes it so that it can't be slotted in.
Drop down, a clear to Flame upfield, he will go. That's coming centre, a chance, barely slipping by. Casio up high, out to Archie, continue to play. That's off the ceiling. Flame, can he finish? No, it's to the backboard. Casio's there, no on boost, he gets a touch. Another chance, beats to the ball, the pressure remains, top blokes bound to score it seems. Casio's out to continue, bumps in the process, sorry, great defense, another chance, saved by Kenyon. That's up high to the backboard. He can't find the touch. That's gonna go in. Top bloke finally find the lead.
And yet again it is Flame finding the back of the net there. He was just straight up. You could feel this goal coming. The pressure was mounting and it just kept flying in front of the Solary net. They couldn't get it away, and Flame is the one to finally punish it and find that 2-1 goal for top blokes.
2-1 top blokes. 1 minute left, and so they've got to get a move on. They're going on attack. They are hunting for a goal, but they're not finding it just yet. Instead, Archie upfield, looking for the dunk, not going to find it. Flame shot, barely kept out of harm's way. But Casio not going to let this go easily. The drop down, Kerr barely find that touch away. Another chance for Sorry, upfield to the corner. Kerr looking around, Lucas is up, the pass to Casio, the clear away, Flames there, the pass to Archie to make it free, secure the game, not going to work out. Sorry. Exotic, what a 50, that's coming centre. Sorry's getting so close. Could we see an overtime? Our first series, a game 5 OT, it might just happen, but top boat saying otherwise. They're shutting the play down, they're clearing the ball away, the drop down, Exotic. Centre, up high. 10 seconds, they need to go in attack, they need to score now. Lucas to find the goal, it's coming centre, Casio on the save, it's going to say otherwise. A clear away, that's got to be it, that's got to be the game, no one in net. Top blokes will win this series, and what a close affair it was.
The first winner in this Rocket Baguette Grand Prix summer will be going towards top blokes with such a strong showing. It wasn't strong in every single game, but they do it when it matters most. When Solary scored the first goal in this last game, they did not give up. They kept it going, and they've been rewarded with it, with the win.
Very well played to the top bloke side. They find the win at the end, and a great performance all around. Top bloke's team played excellently. I think Casio was the main star attraction of that side, but that last game I should say, but Archie definitely was a kind of standout player the whole way through.
I agree. He was playing out of his mind and just completely in the right place in the right time. I love it when a team like Top Blokes that is so reliant on the team plays, and you saw it time and time again, because they constantly need 2 players to do it, right? They've got either the passer, then the shooter, but often someone that's actually going for the demos as well. So you have 3 people involved in every single offensive attack, and then if you are not in sync with your teammates, if you're on a slightly different page, it can lead to goals on your own goal being scored because you're the one out of position, but actually knows naturally what he needs to do in his team, and it makes it so that it's a beautiful game to watch.
It was an exciting series. It went above my expectations, above and beyond, and I've got to give props to Solary. They've done a great job at turning things around and a great job at clawing back at it, but at the end of the day, it was not enough, and they will be heading to the lower brackets, of course. That does mean that Top Blokes, moving on to the winners semi-finals, they'll be facing off against Giants Gaming later to come. But the next match is going to be a good one. It's going to be Endpoint CEX facing off against Monkeys. We're going to a quick break and we'll be back very, very soon with a great match.
Welcome back, and what a way to start the day, the Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix. Here with Boyoroyo and Joessi. Top Blokes versus Solary in 5 games, and it was a seesaw of gameplay and emotions. We were all at the edge of the seat here. Boyo, what exactly happened? How was it so turny aroundy? What a game to start with. What are your thoughts on what you just saw?
It's a good question. What did happen though? I think the question will be asked for a long time. What happened that series? It was so flip-floppy as you mentioned, but I think the main thing to focus on is Solly's ability to turn things around. And I can almost bet you if this was a game 6, for example, we went to, they would have took that game. They were always able to adapt to that last playstyle, and they're able to kind of find a win from that. But the issue is that's not going to win them series, as they cannot always be playing in the back foot, as they're always going to lose one extra game. So they have that ability. They need to kind of adapt earlier on in the series, I think, is their issue. And I think if they can do that, they could really challenge in that lower bracket.
Yeah, what do you think about Yukas? How is he fitting into the team right now? Seems like he found himself a good place at the very start, but he wasn't as efficient later on.
I feel like midway through was his kind of time to shine. He was finding great passes, finding great shots, getting a lot of kind of monumental plays. He was really turning the tides for Solary, but as you said, starting to slow down your time carrying Exotic, starting to take over, which is well and truly fine. I think Yukas has to find his place in the team, and they're slowly finding that over time, slowly figuring that out, finding what suits him best. So I'm hoping that by tomorrow in the lower bracket, he'll have found his spot, and we're going to see a lot better of a play from him.
Oh, well, they have 24 hours indeed to prepare for tomorrow. But Joessi, let's talk about the next game. It's, of course, going to be Endpoint CX versus the Monkeys. And on the Monkeys side, we have the second longest standing, not the top longest standing, but the second longest standing active European player duo. Natan and Taz have been together for a really long time. They've been trying a couple of different players. We've talked about previously how Cash was playing with them earlier, and it was a really good combo. Now with EXO, what are your thoughts on this game? Who are you preferring to take it in the end?
Yeah, I love that you touched on them being the longest standing duo, because of course, me being Dutch myself, I'm quite proud of the duos that we produce. Rix and Burrito, the other one that obviously come to mind. But yeah, I think with Cash, and Danny touched on this earlier as well, and I completely agree with it. That was an insane team to watch, because it was basically just Taz and allowing Cash to do basically what he wanted, and Cash is someone with the mechanics to completely utilize that to the absolute fullest. Whereas with EXO, I still have my doubts about him. I love the guy. I am so privileged that I've got to see him a lot in a lot of community tournaments, and I would love to see him break through. I think as an individual, he would be RLRS material for sure. However, whenever you seem to put him into a team, he can't quite find his own way in it. And as a result, the teams never really seem to be able to really perform at the absolute highest level.
We're hoping for the brightest of the future for all these players, of course. But as we're moving into the game, Joessi, what is your opinion on the potential result of this game? Will Endpoint take it, or are you still with your Dutch folks and Monkeys?
I mean, I'm gonna do some treachery here, because it's definitely gonna be Endpoint in my opinion here. Yeah, it's bad, but the thing that I love most about Endpoint is the fact that it's completely new, right? There's a meta always in Rocket League with either passing or just playing as quick as you can, but Endpoint brings something that is completely new. You basically have a dedicated bumper in your offense, and you just try and split open your the defense of the opposition. And it's very infuriating to watch, especially if you pretend to be the defender, but I think it's very fresh, and I love seeing it succeed.
Boya, what about you? How are you seeing this match going?
I think sorry to Monkeys, I'm gonna have to go against them as well. You know, Endpoint are looking like a really strong team, and I've seen them in the spring series have that medical run. I guess I would say they had great performances, and you know, I think touching on the fact that like against Giants Game, for example, they are yet to lose in recent time, 4 wins to 0 losses against that team. So that's a strong team as well. So constantly being able to beat them, constantly challenging our CS teams, really taking them down and showing themselves to be a really good squad with Mets and Odyssey is going to make it hard for Monkeys. Monkeys are a team that's really good at qualifying for things, but finishing off is where they kind of lack the ability to. So I guess going in that regard, I should protect the Monkeys, because they seem to qualify for every tournament possible.
I mean, you need to make a choice. You need to make a choice.
I will go for Endpoint.
I'm going to put you on the spot. All right, well, we've learned what we are thinking here on the desk. Let's find out what Craftman and Danny are thinking about this game. It's over to that very casting duo.
Thank you very much, guys. And I'm not going to forgive Joessi for going against his countrymen. You've got to go home. You got to go with your homeboys in the Monkeys. But I agree with the guys on the desk. I think Endpoint, they have improved throughout the off season, and they had a fantastic run through the spring series, only losing out to Dignitas in that losers final. But Danny, what about yourself? Do you think this Monkeys team, up and coming stars, can take out this obviously former or still RLCS team in Endpoint?
It's a very difficult question. I can understand why Joessi praised the Dutch sort of duo. If you had to pick as the thirds, is Iso good enough? Is he able to go into it? I see Metenčuks and I just look at him sort of going, boy, he's one of the best free agents you could have picked up. So it's going to be a battle here, Crafters. It's not the case of which one's going to outpower each other. It's going to be a tactical battle, this one. It's also going to be the case of, is Vert going to demo some more as well?
Obviously, your hometown boy, the Irishman Virtuoso. But I touched on it in our opening segment, Danny, about Metenčuks coming into this Endpoint team, maybe grounding the guys. Obviously, Metenčuks not having the best of runs with the TSM guys, but now coming into this Endpoint squad, what kind of mentality do you think Metenčuks brings as a veteran player?
Well, it's again, he's been at the world stage, he's been in various other lands as well. It's just that calm, collective nature. There's not overhyper, he's not willing to make mistakes, he's willing to play safe. He's letting Vert be Vert, and that's the best thing Endpoint can wish for. Really, in Wave, he can spark off at the right time, but when we see Metenčuks in the honeymoon period, as we call it, my God, he was magnificent. It's just a case, can he replicate that? And can he do it again and again and again? Consistency is a huge key, and that's going to be the huge issue here.
And Joessi touched on it a little bit on the desk when Matane and Taz were obviously playing with Notorious Legion. Having Cash on their side was a big benefit, but now they've got the Englishman and Ixo. And off we go with this one. Endpoint CEX versus Monkeys. Winner will go on to face Team Singularity a little bit later on. We'll start things off as Endpoint just holding fort in their own half of the field for the moment. Nothing too spectacular starting this best of 5 off, but there's the passes, and we know when these guys were playing as Notorious Legion, the Monkeys, Matane and Taz, they are so deadly when it comes to accurate passing.
Yeah, people usually refer to him as sort of the masters of the defensive type game. Taz slightly got annoyed with that reputation. He wanted to show another side to him, and we did for a part of the rival series. Matane there, one shots, Taz has one. There was a stack to the backboard. But right now, Cisco dropping all the way back, working his way up to the middle of the field. But Endpoint, we further got the midline locked decently well there.
And this is good pressure from the Monkeys, and Taz might have one on target. He does, but squeezed away by Relating Wave. And that's a man you need to look out for on this field. Relating Wave is going to be all over any passes that you guys are trying to pull out. And here he goes to the backboard, can't follow up. Yes, he can, in fact. It'll be Ixo getting the clutch save, and shot for each team, or a couple of good chances for each team here in the early stages of this one. Danny, who do you think's looking the more stronger offense so far?
So far, I would have to say the Monkeys have had opportunities, they've tested around here. We can see by the, again, this fabulous overlay, the boost, the touches, everything on display in Virtuoso. You could just set a bit of drip dropping down from the foreheads of Monkeys defense there, but they hold on with 2 minutes gone, goalless so far.
Relating Wave not able to find any boost in the corner, so he'll leave that one, and Matane will just jump on this one. Here come the Monkeys though, try to move everything downfield. Ixo try to find somebody in the middle who'll get he'll actually demo Metenčuks, in fact, but Virtuoso straight onto net, looking for those backboard plays, and it seems like that's the story of this one so far. Everyone just try to pepper that backboard, try to get that drop down, and then call in their teammate for the follow-up, but the defenses are getting very wise to this and shutting these down before they can even develop here, Danny.
Yeah, it's the experience we see as well too. We see effectively Mets holding that sort of back line, allowing the two to pivot in and out, free flowing attacking. But it's the opposition counterpart, Isco, that sort of volatile players who are trying to disrupt the two. And sort of evenly matched out with that half the game gone here. And Matane, it's been a little weak possession there. Hurt having a couple of plays. Bang, bang, as our favourite Stacks would say, 1-0.
And Virtuoso just going straight onto net. Who was this getting the demo onto Ixo? Actually, no, not Ixo. I couldn't remember who got the demo there, but brilliantly played by the offense of Endpoint CEX here. And they take the opener here in game number 1, and then Monkey's probably looking to fire back very early, very aggressive right off the kickoff. Ixo taking it straight to the backboard off the crossbar. It'll go, and Metain finds it. An early equaliser and a quick one at that.
Oh, this is beautiful. Ixo just moving around. Williams thought, I'll just sneakily take this away, and Metain just went, thank you very much, and just slip it in from the near post to defense. Helpless, and so far Crafters both are playing free flow. They're attacking well. Don't get me wrong, defense can still improve, needs to improve here, and Wave just moving it down to his teammate and transferring decently well too.
Now Monkeys, knowing that all-out aggression has been working well for them right off the kickoff, in fact, got them that equalising goal. Here comes Ixo, gets squeezed away by Metsonoras though. Now Taz will try his luck, 23 boost to his name, but can't get anything through. Relating Wave might be here though. Metsonoras in pursuit of this one in the corner. Ixo will just gladly take it away and slow everything down now that Monkeys can rotate back. And Endpoint CEX, they don't really have the speed in comparison to Monkeys. Monkeys just seem all over this one. Relating Wave, awkward position, just dives out the way, gets the save in and out of the goal. And now that moves everything back upfield. CEX well defended.
But for how much longer can the Monkeys reciprocate backwards? They are now in defense here, and the man in question is moving down. Second judge was by Metain, and they left themselves vulnerable from the counter-attacking Endpoint, breathing down the necks here. Monkeys, they once again past the halfway line, attacking to the backboard, and Virgil sweeps around here. The emerald green man from Ireland doing well there.
Lane Wave looking to get the pass into Metsonoras, and he does. No touch followed up though by the veteran Finn. Still fairly even game here. It does seem like Endpoint are on the up and up, but Monkeys starting to make progress downfield yet again. All the boost on their side. Relating Wave really the only person on Endpoint who has any boost in the tank, so it's going to allow Monkeys to come down. Maybe gets this one in front of net. 27 seconds remaining, and Monkeys are pushing hard. They want to get the lead here. Do not want to push this one into overtime. Virtuoso has other ideas as he dribbles this one up the right-hand side.
That idea, ruptured, Vert dropping back, so it's Relating Wave. One chance here, does Ixo have it? No! And Relating Wave dealt, turn, moves around, and Taz has a chance, right off the post.
Ixo!
Straight off the crossbar! Oh, it's not! We've just been robbed! Monkeys are swinging up the branches, but still can't score.
That was on the line. My, oh my. Monkeys were that close to taking the first game, and they might pay for it. Endpoint straight on their net. 15 seconds into overtime, but Taz here coming in for a shot of his own. So back and forth here, and such aggressiveness from both teams. The Monkeys looking to make it work out themselves in overtime. Here comes Metain to the backboard. This is one bouncing down. It is, but Relating Wave steps, Metsonoras in fact steps in front of it. Metain will keep this one dangerous in the blue half of the field. Now Taz finds Ixo in the middle, but he cannot make contact. An aggressive start for the Monkeys, but Endpoint hold their own. And here comes Relating Wave to the corner of the goalpost. Taz gets the save, and we continue in OT.
Players both sides are trying to find a way. Do it in 5 minutes to break the deadlock. Yet Monkeys had one chance. Point 2 and back again. He's trying to pass into the middle. Metain up and around. Should be Metsonoras downfield. And so far Crafters are just struggling for possession. Boost has seemed to be an apparent issue too. Oh, the pressure already on game 1.
Yeah, most of regulation, it was Endpoint on the back foot of boost. You could see on the player boost meters on the left-hand side that a lot of them were empty, but they're full here in overtime, and Virtuoso bangs one in from close range, and Endpoint hold on to take this first game.
Oh, just the accuracy there. That was just delicate by Virtuoso, but oh, you've got to feel for the Monkeys. They've had a sizzler of a chance there, Crafters. It didn't go in, and yet we just see by the breakdown alone there, Monkeys were dominating, but according to the stats, suggests otherwise in some cases for Endpoint.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I'm looking at that field domination stat, and 56% possession in favor of Endpoint upfield in the orange half. For most of that, I thought Monkeys had the advantage in that stat. I thought they were right on the attacking play most of the time, if not all of the time, and Endpoint only had a couple of breakaways every now and again. But it's interesting watching these guys, two really attacking teams, really want to set the pace early on and just go bang, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. So it's interesting to see how Monkeys were on the back foot of that, at least in stats, even though they were fairly even, 56% to 44% in that.
Yeah, the issue as well with we can't really measure on terms of at least a quantity is sort of the mental side of it as well. Monkeys lost that chance as well, and now they've just lost the game in OT. That's going to be devastating for them going into game 2. How they respond to it is going to be a huge factor as well, Crafters.
I think they are going to go at it all full beans, as we saw in game number 1, as we approach game number 2. Taz wanting to take that slowly though. Allow Ixo to come up to the backboard, and Monkey straight on the attack here at game number 2. Endpoint though on the counter, Relating Wave looking to bump Metain away. Not able to clear a path for his teammate to make the shot, and we'll stay even as we tick past the first 20 seconds and right back into this midfield game, kind of what we saw at the start of the first game, Danny. It was Endpoint who came away with the first goal back in game number 1. Can they do it again here?
We're going to see elements of it. What a goal line save. Oh, the Monkeys, they're making every one of their fans sweat in that shot. Slightly above the crossbar and Relating Wave back around here. Seems to be a game of aerial battle, and the Monkeys are losing it. They have to find a way of climbing up and able to take a few of these away from them. If not, Endpoint is just going to have a free range of their backboards.
Wave looking to get that double touch of his own off the sidewall, but unable to make contact again. There's a lot of missed chances for both teams. But here comes Ixo, trying to create a chance for himself. Gets that double touch, but bangs it off the crossbar, but puts Monkeys in good position here, floating across the face of the net. Ixo will get that shot as Relating Wave couldn't get it away. Virtuoso does make the save. Can Metain slow things down? He can't just enough. And this one will be set clear from the Endpoint half. And this is kind of what we saw from Endpoint last game as well, Danny. They seem to get pressured quite a lot by Monkeys, but their defensive rotations are on point most of it.
Oh, I have to fully agree with there, and it's relaxing to see when it was not just how it was on this Endpoint roster. It was a one-side pivot here. With Mets, Relating Wave, they're able to move in and out. Virtuoso can just hunt for those demos, move around. You can see the way that Virtuoso is lurking around, trying to attack. And Taz just moves that one to the side. 2 out of net. 1 more. Surely not! Relating Wave. That one goes in with an offensive packing.
And the cheeky bump in net there from Virtuoso onto Metain, just clearing the way for Relating Wave. Absolute boomer of a shot to that bottom, top left corner, excuse me. But it was all up to the Irishman. And Virtuoso clearing the path here, but here he comes again, looking for the double touch off the backboard, sets the table for Wave. Where's Metsenoris for the follow-up? He's there, but straight onto the crossbar. Still a 1-0 lead for Endpoint, but they're right on this aggressive attack. Could be 2-0, and it will be. Virtuoso pushes the goal, leads to 2.
It's amazing how quickly double up Virtus moves that up, and Taz is just sitting there going, help me! And Metain decides to demo him a sympathetic sort of response there. Can't get the ball, so get the next big thing. And that's Vert. Other than that, 2-0, simple as it gets for them.
The Monkeys really licking their wounds at this point, trying to figure out what the hell happened. As Endpoint have been going very, very quickly, very aggressive, and obviously looking for those bumps and demos. That's been their bread and butter throughout the course of the series so far in its early stages. Monkeys, especially in this game too, just can't seem to find the right answers for it. And Endpoint have most of the possession, and they're keeping a lot of the touches to themselves. Sometimes in their own half, and mainly in midfield, that's where they're holding on to. But Ixo able to find a break in that one. Taz over the top, double commit though by Metain as well. And Ixo's just going to have to play spoiler here for Metsenoris as he was taking that one through to Relating Wave. And that's the kind of double commit and the mistakes that Monkeys cannot afford to make, especially when they're 2 goals down with the series on the line as well.
The third one goes in here. You might as well say 2-0 series. I'm comfortable in saying that. There was one chance for a goal. The Hurricane back by the Monkeys. Is that one? It's in. apparently Crafters in point has got a new strategy. Go for boost.
Yeah, just go for boosts. Monkeys are just going for gold. Nice little challenge there by Taz to send that one in, and no one home for endpoint. We were praising earlier, Danny, their defensive rotations, but they just dropped the ball on that one. Like you said, just going for boost, not really giving a damn about leaving the net. And Taz, maybe he's counting his lucky stars on that one, getting the lucky, some might say, challenge onto the defender, and that one sliding in. But it does at least push it back to a 1-goal deficit in endpoint. Need to start playing a little bit more defense now as Metane looking to become aggressive again. He's got Ixo and Taz there, in fact, double commit, both out of position. That'll allow endpoint to come up for yet another attempt on net. Virtuoso. Again, Monkeys there, right on this ball. Looking to transition downfield, and they do. Brilliantly played by Metane and Ixo, and they tie things up.
This was just simple by Metane, just beat brilliant wave, just tucks in. This point here, the game really relies on just a moment of calms, because right now endpoint has just spread themselves too thin here. They've been taken out twice in similar fashion, and there we are. Sonoras has enough, trying to take the lead, gains it just off the kickoff. Monkeys. Oh, come on.
And that's the veteran for you. Brilliant pass though from Relating Wave to set that one up. Monkeys defense had no chance of getting to that one in time. Well played by Metsonoris, just holding down the fort. The Monkeys right back on the back foot, but endpoint want more. Here comes Metsonoris around the right hand side. Virtuoso's there, can't make contact, leaves it for Ixo, looking to transition back upfield, but Relating Wave slowing things down in that middle of the field, just not allowing Monkeys to move out of their own half too many times. Now might be a transition that Monkeys were going to be able to make, but straight into the hands of Virtuoso. And that's where Monkeys can't afford to fall apart. If they want to transition downfield, they need to hold on to possession. They can't afford to rely on endpoint making mistakes and getting the ball back.
Basically the perfect game with under 30 seconds, and 10 of it was already wasted in defense. They're already just waiting for endpoint to stop hassling and hounding the ball. Other than that, right now, Virtuoso is just sitting there blocking and just saying to the Monkeys, none shall pass further than me. I think we can just comfortably say 2-0 series 4-2. Virtuoso just securing this one now.
Yeah, just padding the stats for Virtuoso and Relating Wave, of course. And it just shows you the Monkeys' defense, if they get pressured more consistently, which is what endpoint are tending to do here, just consistent pressure, shot after shot after shot. The rotations do eventually break down, and Monkeys have no chance of pulling back here in game number 2, so they're going to have to rely on game number 3 now as endpoint move within series point.
Endpoint has played probably, I wouldn't say the perfect sort of start for your opening game, but it's pretty much close to a Crafters. Come out, first game, test your opposition, see what they're capable of doing, and move into complete another domination. This game, not by the field, ball yes into theirs, boosted about even, and they just are able to take the opportunities. And Metsonoris, we talked about that experience before the match even started. It's paid dividends here.
It really has, and you can see in the stats there, just possession 53%. Endpoint had the majority of touches in that one. Although you would say it's fairly even, yes, there, but again, just the amount of saves that Monkeys had to make. 4 to 3. I know it's only 4 to 3, but even then, you could feel that endpoint were making more of the shots, more of the ample opportunities that they got. They had the more clear-cut chances on net, and Monkeys just allowed the doors to open everywhere in the field, whether it's in midfield or on their back line.
Yeah, can't disagree with that. And one benefit as well that endpoint has, they have Eclipse as a coach. They've been here before, they can rely on him. If there's anything spotted, he'd be able to tell the guy simply, this is what you've got to do here. Monkeys don't have that issue. They've simply are relying on their experience here. Tarass Metenčuks, most in terms of it, maybe Rick's Ronde slightly a bit more in them too, but bar that factor, their back's truly against the wall now.
Certainly are, and the Dutch pride on the line, at least for Metane and Taz. Ixo just wants to play some Rocket League. Monkeys need to make that reverse sweep if they want to go on and face Team Singularity. course, Endpoint is 1 foot in that quarter-final match, or excuse me, winner semi-final matchup here in the qualification stages, which is our first 2 days of competition here on the Rocket RB channel for the Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix. Glad you're with us and spending your afternoon watching some fantastic Rocket League. 2 fantastic series already. Still more to come, but more to come from Metenčuks as well. Can't make contact on that one. Virtuoso will keep it deep in orange territory. And Endpoint an open net there. Relating Wave deciding not to go for it because Metane was right in front of it. Smart play and just keeping the possession here. Virtuoso shoots on net. And again, Endpoint keeping this one too dangerous in the orange half. Metenčuks over the top. But no goal comes of it as of yet. Virtuoso might try one more time. He'll get beat out by the defense once again.
Bit worrying the fact that Monkeys can double commit at times. They're not being punished, or don't know who that maybe reflects slightly bad on. Is that the clear the Monkeys are hoping for? It looks like it is. Taz buys a bit of time. They can regain a bit of boost of possession. There's a double commit though. Monkeys are scrambling left, right and centre for inspiration, and so far here it's coming across as desperation.
Certainly right in that one. Scrambly was the word that was coming to mind when I'm looking at this Monkeys team. More so in the offense than the defense at the moment, but they are scrapping for every blade of grass here. Relating Wait, that's a massive clear that he's made it straight into the path of Taz, though. That was wide open. If that was maybe a kilometre or two faster, it might have dipped in or dipped over Taz. You've got to be careful of that if you're Monkeys. You cannot give Endpoint those chances, those openings, because they will take advantage. Here comes a pass upfield to Virtuoso, looking to beat out Taz, but here comes Metenčuks with the follow-up. Brilliantly played by everyone on Endpoint, and Monkeys cannot get anyone back in defense.
Just moving on down. Taz stuck in a situ of a moment there. Should have went really back to net or up on the wall to sit in no man's land by challenging that situation. Bit unfortunate, but heat at the moment. Sometimes a mistake like that can occur, and Endpoint regains, seeks the benefit of it, and now one's out effectively in the semi-finals.
Still Endpoint running away with it. Pass into Metenčuks. Metane will go for the save, actually does it with Taz as well. Looking for that pinch back downfield as all of Endpoint were committed upfield, trying to get that second goal, trying to get that cushion. As we tick past 2.5 minutes gone, 2.5 to go in this one. Metza over the top, he's got enough boost, but cannot follow it through as Taz makes the save, but it puts Endpoint in decent position here. Metza will go for this one again, but Virtuoso will have to go for the follow-up as he blocked out by Metane. Now relating Wave. Probably looking to go for the pass in the middle. Actually, he'll shadow his teammate and let this one stay in orange territory. Just every second that bleeds off this clock here, Danny, Monkeys are getting more and more frustrated, regardless of whether it's going in the net or not for Endpoint. It's just so much frustration for Monkeys because they cannot get down into the blue half.
Will drive anybody in that sort of imperil situation. They haven't done enough defensively, really. They need to sit there, pass shorter, demo a couple of times and trying to alleviate a few pressures. Haven't 50 recently enough in a while, but good catch. Straight over to the blast. Oh! That goal ties things up.
And Metenčuks, he hesitated. He went right back. Probably the right decision, but just an awkward possession, and Metane finds Ixo for a stunning equalizer. And that's what they needed as we tick towards the 1.5 mark, 100 seconds to go here in game number 3. Monkeys need to keep themselves in this one. The pass to Ixo, and he does it again. Brilliantly played by Metane off the kickoff. That's what Monkeys needed.
I bet you Joessi be sitting there thinking, I should have trusted in the Dutch. Metane, clever catch. And you know what? With Ixo's quality of a ones player, yes, he's transformed into a really good threes player. Doesn't score at that point. Monkeys were doomed. This is a chance to maybe regain. I wouldn't say a reverse sweep is on the cards just yet, but this is settled for game 3 of win for their case.
And all that Endpoint aggression is starting to rear its ugly head, and shooting percentage being not as accurate as the Monkeys have been. 2 shots from Monkeys, 2 goals to boot, both by the boot of Ixo. Whereas the guys on Endpoint, 7 shots for them so far, and only Metenčuks able to find the target. 60 seconds left. Can Endpoint start to put one inside the net and stop hitting the woodwork and stop hitting the defenders as well? You got to say that Monkeys' defense has been absolutely stellar. Despite not being able to break out of their own half too much, they have kept this Endpoint team at bay for the most part. With 40 seconds to go, they're going to have to do it again as the passing plays come out. Relating Wave gets one on target. Brilliant pass from Virtuoso. Finds Wave in the middle, and he finds the middle of the net.
You thought for a second, but Shane was probably the smartest player on the pitch. When you combine the IQ of Endpoint, oh, this is a dangerous roster. And they just respond in kind that Monkeys just did in the kickoff. And that shot, only if it was a bit more accurate, but Meteen deals with it comfortably. 30 seconds left. Monkeys, what do you have left in the tank?
And what do Endpoint have left in the tank as well, because they have been shooting so hard in this game. Virtuoso slows things down and powers it through for the lead. 17 seconds to go, and Endpoint might have stamped their ticket to the next round.
You just sat there and thought Monkeys have had a chance. Oh dear, Endpoint knocking. They've hit the door twice in under 30 seconds. Monkeys, you said it earlier, they're probably frustrated. The amount of defense they had to play. They're back onto it at this point here. Forget about defense. Throw the ball up the field and just see what happens.
Well, they've got 7 seconds to do it. Full court carry required, but Metenčuks straight on this one. Meteen will keep this high in the air as the clock strikes triple zeros. Here comes Ixo, the 2-time goal scorer. Here in game number 3. It's going to be Taz, though, and it hits the floor. Endpoint secure the victory in tense fashion here in game number 3. They hold on, and they will play Singularity next.
Oh, you have to feel for the Monkeys there twice in that series. You just simply move around there, and I don't know there. I think Taz might be doing a cheeky substitution to Endpoint, and Isco has yet to be unlocked as he hasn't won a game yet here at the Grand Prix by the looks of it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It does. Yeah, we'll get that graphic sorted. But Metenčuks, I really like him in this Endpoint team. He's been such a solid player, letting Relating Wave and Virtuoso just do their thing, and then just coming in at the end, being that solid veteran player. Love what he's been doing. But Monkeys, again, their Grand Prix isn't over. They will drop to the lower bracket, and they will be facing, if I can get my thing up, will they be facing either Giant or who? We'll tell you who they're facing. We'll get that information to you a little bit later on. But regardless, it's going to be Endpoint up against Singularity. But after this short break, we will be breaking it down on the desk with Jar of Jam. And next up, we are going to have Giants versus the Top Blokes. Do not go anywhere. The Grand Prix continues after this.
Well, the desk was absolutely right. Endpoint all the way in 3 games, but this felt like it was a game on a knife's edge. Monkeys came within short of scoring a game-winning buzzer in game number 1, then not scoring at the very end of game number 3. Each one of these could have been a monumental changer for them. Instead, we have what we have: 3-0 to Endpoint. Craftman and Danny here with me again. And Danny, what was really the problem behind Monkey's inability to read Endpoint's gameplay? Were there any hopes for them even doing something on the field, or was it an immediate lost game as it started?
I wouldn't say it was lost before it began. We saw a game 1, there was a reasonable chance of being optimistic. They had control, they dominated in certain areas of the aspect. The problem was they failed to adapt. They were reliant too much on the same old tactic, and really at that point there, once like the Matsunora was able to control the field, it was game over.
In the end, they weren't able to really break down out of that rut. Craftman, are you feeling the Monkeys were just too reliant on their opposition making mistakes rather than creating something of their own, or how did you see this unfold from the standpoint of Monkeys?
I think so. I think when they got on the back line, they just were not expecting Endpoint to have as solid touches as they were. The passes were with purpose and to somebody as well, and they were shutting them down when they were getting to that lower end of the field as well. But for me, Monkeys, again, we kind of saw from Endpoint as well, where they would shoot as many times as they could, and just nothing was going in. But I feel when Monkeys were going downfield, they had more clear-cut opportunities, but they just weren't converting them, and the Endpoint defense was too strong. And I agree, I think sometimes they would play a bit too passively, let the game come to them, but Endpoint is just going to go all over them, pass her all around the field, and just completely dominating that aspect. And I think that probably was their downfall.
Congratulations to Endpoint once again. Craftman, maybe a quick question to you. Whether you want to highlight somebody on the side of Endpoint, whether you thought Virtuoso or Relating Way of Metsonaris were the top player for this matchup.
I think Metsonaris was a very solid player, but for me, Virtuoso was all over the field. He was making plays left, right, and center. And I mean, you saw, I can't remember which game it was. I think it might have been game 2. He was just bumping Ixo, I believe it was, in the net, just allowing Metsonaris to make that shot. So I think Virtuoso, definitely my MVP from that one.
Well, he's certainly most notable Irish player right now on the scene ever since Mike Rules made a name for himself all the way in the first seasons for Flipside Tactics. Speaking of Irish players and speaking of Flipside Tactics, Danny, do you second the sentiment of Craftman about Virtuoso, or do you have a better MVP on the Endpoint side?
I'm just disappointed. I mean, I retired from the scene to let the likes of Virtuoso have a bigger name in the scene. How dare you?
Oh, so sweet of you, Danny.
Oh,
so sweet.
So selfless.
I know. To be fair, Relating Way of Virtuoso, they were good. They're always consistently good. It's just how well are they able to play. But to me, that team wouldn't work as well without Metsunor. So to me, he is the MVP. Controlled it, good vision between the ball, and I'm not saying that pass and play in that game too. Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, folks, 2 games down, 2 more to go. We're now going into the semifinals of the winners bracket of this qualification stage. Giant Gaming and Top Blokes will be our next match on the screens. Giant Gaming represented by Tox, Zamwe, and Steak. 3 of the players we haven't seen just yet. And of course, we got familiar with Flame, Cassio, and Archie during their banger of a series of a 3-2 versus Solari earlier during the day. And of course, Solari and Monkeys are now awaiting their potential opponents in the losers quarterfinals. That's going to be happening tomorrow. For now, let's get on with this. So, as we are heading off towards the Giants versus Top Blokes, can Archie carry the Top Blokes against Giant Gaming, or is Giant Gaming just too good? Craftman, are you preferring the Spaniards? Or are you preferring the combined, well, the very international sort of side of the Top Blokes?
Well, for me, Giants are Team Bim Bam in this competition. They're just going to be all over you, just rotating in and out as fast as possible. And we saw Top Blokes earlier. They were a little bit cagey sometimes, but they got the job done, obviously, against Solari. So I think this is going to be a very interesting one. But I think, for me, Giants are going to be the more speedy team, and Top Blokes are just going to get, at least in the first game, maybe game 2 as well, they're going to get get caught off guard by that incredible pace that they have.
Oh yeah, if we're talking about Spanish playstyle, it's Spanish bin ban as it's called, but do not get sort of completely different intention of what this is. It is fast, but it is not so fast that they don't know what they're doing themselves. No, they just pick a pace and set it to their opponents, and it's for top blokes to figure out what exactly they're going to be doing. Is Giant Gaming someone you also fancy, Danny, or are you really heading towards Flame and Archie, the Brits, and of course Cassie with them as a help?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, really. I mean, when you have allegedly now a world championship quality player in the form of Tox, I mean, how can you not back a team like that? So I have to go with Tox. I mean, I've spoken to them behind the scenes. They've been working hard. Pretty decent results. So, you know what? I think they're going to be decent.
They need to be definitely doing better than decent if they want to get to the end of this tournament, especially knowing what kind of names are awaiting them later. And of course, even here, they need to win their matchup. Thankfully for them, they have been seeded high, and as such, they're starting this qualifying tournament with, well, at least qualifying part of this tournament already with a bye into the second round. But this might not mean squat if in the end top blokes do change around their destiny from behind. So it is time has come now for a little bit of a prediction game. So once again, I'm going to be asking you to name me a team that's going to win this and the scoreline. Craftman. It seems like it's going to be Giant Gaming, but with what scoreline?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Giants on this one. I'm going to go 3-1. I'll give top blokes one game. Maybe they might steal the first one, but I think, like I mentioned before, they're going to get caught off by the speed of Vodafone Giants, and I think they take this one handily. I'll give them one game though.
That's very generous of you. We're a very generous broadcast today.
If I'm not anything but a giver, I'm here to share the wealth, share the happiness here in the Grand Prix.
Unless you just want to one up Danny. And speaking of Danny,
maybe.
Danny, what's your pick out of these two teams?
It's a difficult one, but I like going bold with some of these. I'm going to go 3-0.
Oh, you've said
Giants.
that before, Danny, and it's not worked out for you when you've predicted.
I know, but I'm going to go bold, and I might as well. And you know what? I like to see Rams win, but I think Tox probably has it the same round.
There is a lot of belief in Giants Gaming from both of the analysts here at the desk, but we're also interested what Boyoroyo and Joessi are thinking, so it's over to them for the third game of today.
Well, as we come back, time for our first series of the day, the semi-finals finally coming to a start, and due to the analyst desk, very confident in Giants Gaming.
I mean, are you going to say that you're not confident in them?
Well, we'll get to that later on, but I'm leaning a bit of a different way at the moment.
Are you actually? Because for me, it's just going to be Giants Gaming all over top blokes. I don't think that top blokes will be able to play their type of game. What we saw earlier today against Solary, they looked very strong as long as they stayed in offense, but Giants Gaming is the exact team that will not let you play any offense because they'll just be banging on your front door and just trying to kill your defense. So I don't really see them doing that much, boy, but I'd love to hear your opinion.
I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to kind of throw my support towards the top bloke side. I think they're showed how strong they are, especially with Archie working so well with Flame and Casio, and we've seen Vodafone Giants, we've seen Giants Gaming. They are so consistent as a team. They are, at this stage, RLCS quality. Of course, they didn't make it their portion tournament, but since then, I would have them as an RLCS team without a doubt.
For sure.
But I think top blokes just have that little something else in them. Like, they have that team dynamic that I think it's going to work and able to take down Giants Gaming. Now, I might be proved wrong here, and we've been happy to see some great Rocket League from Giants to get proven wrong. But you know, I'm gonna back the boys. I'm gonna back top blokes in taking this.
I mean, the way I see it working for them is if they manage to play the mental game right. I do think Giants Gaming is a team that if they manage to get into their flow, they're nearly impossible to take them out of. But if you start to disrupt them, which is what we have seen from Top Blokes, running these disruptive play in terms of demos and bumps, then I do think that you indeed can have a fair chance, but they'll need to play it to an absolute perfection.
I think the key player I'm going to look out for on Top Blokes is certainly going to be Casio. I think his kind of influence on that team undermined in a sense by how good Archie was that first series, but without Casio being on that pitch making some amazing plays, it would not have been a win for Top Blokes in that series against Solary. So I really want to keep an eye on Casio. I think he is that kind of secret weapon that Top Blokes have that's just really going to pop off, and that's what I'm expecting to see this series.
Yeah, for sure. He was in the right place in the right time, but he needs to do it in this series as well. Top Blokes versus Vodafone Giants has started off, and it has started off with the first kickoff going in the favor of Top Blokes. They couldn't quite find the shot there, boys.
Couldn't quite find the shot, but early on in the game, it's not too big of a deal. Giants Gaming Top Blokes, and I myself, the odd one out compared to the desk, and just all going in the side of Giants Gaming. But who will be the one correct, and more importantly, who will be moving on to the winners' finals, one step closer to that qualification spot and making their way to the groups? We'll talk. Looking to make it Vodafone Giants. The pass in centre not working out. Stake up high, leaves the ball for Archie. Small tap up, trying to force his way through. Zamway, he finds a save. Back to Flame once more. Pass one, no boost in the tank. Giants Gaming holding down the midfield well. That's a drop from Casio approaching there, rushing back and Stake. He'll find a save. The Zamway Stake in the net. The pressure remains. Casio to the backboard, dropping down. Archie fakes out one. He can turn on it, trying to close out top, but not going to work out. The ball goes back to Flame, up high, coming centre. Casio keeps the play going. Top Blokes coming with an astounding amount of offense already.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before the game as well, boy. I feel like if they manage to get this offense, they are looking good. But every single time they're in defense, they just put the ball too far away from themselves. They can't follow it up, and it just ends up lingering in front of their net in a perfect position for Vodafone Giants in order to punish it.
With the drop down, Flame, the clear to the side of Stake. Trying to take this up high, over one, off the ceiling, trying to continue, no boost in the tank, a great 50-50, Zamley can finish that. Oh, never mind! What a save from Flame! Talks it up now, he can't finish. Archie can get the clear away, the pressure remains. Zamley not slowing down after that previous save, he's still hunting for a goal. Flame, looking for the clear away, the 50-50 for Stake working out magically. Hawks now, up high, bringing it centre once again, off the bat wall. Archie had a chance to clear away, but Flame gets through it first. Casio takes it slow, under one, over another. The star fans that I was mentioning upfield all by themselves, saved barely by Talks. Oh, but how Vodafone Giants haven't scored, I do not know, but some great defence there from Top Blokes.
I agree, but indeed the defense, but also the counterattacks are looking very dangerous. On the side of Top Blokes, they keep the ball close now, trying to set up their own attack rather than responding to what the Vodafone Giants are trying to set up. Every single time they try and make something for themselves. There's the one back for Vodafone Giants. That shot just going wide. Talks tries to get the flip. Third man is demoed. A good shot here could mean a first goal for Top Blokes. Casio and find the pass into the midfield, and instead just gets cleared upfield. Very rushed plays on both sides.
Zamway up high, beats out Casio. That's in the back where Flame is awaiting, gets it cleared away, but met by Talks, the pressure can remain. Archie runs into that ball, will find the substantial clear away they were looking for, and bring the ball centre. It's a counter need, but that's an own goal. Oh no, Giants Gaming, what on earth have you done?
What? How did you manage to let that slip in? Very unfortunate. I think the last defender, I couldn't quite see who it was, but thought that Archie was going to take the shot regardless. Archie didn't have the angle, so he didn't need to touch that ball at all, and that's a tough start here for the Vodafone Giants. The first goal that he conceded is an own goal.
Own goal to the first one to concede is not a fun way to go. Archie up high, looking the pass in centre, off the back wall, dropping down, the pinch away. Huge by Giants Gaming to send out to the back wall. Talks, take things slow. The pass to Stake to redeem themselves to find the goal. Not going to work out. Archie a booming clear up field is going to say otherwise. 1 minute 20 seconds left. And Top Blokes with a 1-0 lead. Looking comfortable, looking safe. But Giants Gaming can pull plays out of nowhere, so they have to be careful.
I think the biggest issue so far is the strength that the desk was talking about as well from this Vodafone Giant squad is their speed. Once they commit to something, they are so quick to it. But Archie is just consistently outpacing them. Whenever the ball is high, he's the first one to get it away. But that's a great pass, the shot just wide. Demo as well, make sure that that attack is just cut short and can't really continue.
Flame able to get the ball away uncontested, but stake on the ceiling, dropping it down. Tops backing off, no boost in the tank to find the touch on it. Sam with the drop down, looking for the pass, fakes out Archie, coming centre. Tops can get a touch on it, upfield he will go to try and bring this game back into their clutches. They got 30 seconds left. Giants Gaming, they need to score soon, otherwise Top Loads will be going 1-0 up in the series as the ball goes back to Top. It could be a chance. Zamway up, beats the ball, back to Tops once more, and is hunting for that pass. Back up high. He can't get a touch on it. Zamway waiting the sidewall, back to Top, save once more. Zamway a chance, looking for the flick, not gonna find it. Saved once again in the dying seconds. One last chance, up high, saved by Archie. That's got to be the game right there. Top Blokes almost certainly gonna take game one unless Zamway can pull off something magical. The ball stays high. Top not able to find it, finally touching the ground. Top Blokes take game number 1.
Ooh, I was not expecting this, Boyo. That was a great showing from Top Blokes there in that first game. A lot of saves coming in from them. But overall, I feel like the Vodafone Giants really dropping the ball in this one. You expect them to be quick. You expect them to be challenging everything. And yes, they did keep the ball upfield quite a lot, but it wasn't any dangerous. And every single time they tried to keep it upfield, it was quite often a pass towards one of the Top Blokes guys rather than a pass to one of their teammates. And it just really hurt their chances in offense.
It's the Prime Giants Gaming, as you mentioned, expected to be quick, but they did not live up to the expectations. On average, Top Load players were faster than Giants Gaming. They had the faster pace, but the issue with Giants Gaming, if you look down at the bottom, they had a higher boost consumption. So the fact that their average speed is lower than the Top Blokes ones, a confusing thing for a team like this. They should know how to utilize a boost to the best of their ability. They know how to use boost to its maximum potential, but they didn't seem to do that, and it's one of their, as mentioned, key things that they can do. They are a fast-moving team. They need to know how to utilize that boost that they have to have that pace unmatched.
But also props on the side of Top Blokes. They managed to match that speed, even succeeded, and they had 1,000 boosts less used, which basically means 10 full boost paths throughout the entire games that they had less, and yet they are still quicker. They're just really keeping their momentum, and it doesn't matter if the Vodafone Giants keep up the pressure and keep up attacking if you have Top Blokes that can just fend them off even without any boost.
You know, the way to go into game 2, just of course, the only goal scored for Top Blokes was a disappointing own goal. So will things change around? Will Giants Gaming get on the right foot this time around, able to take game 2, challenge Top Blokes in game 2? Or will it say, well, pretty much that game was, to be honest, pretty even. There was that one major mistake. Otherwise, that was a very, very close game.
Well, if we go back about an hour or so when we were casting the Top Blokes before, we were full on praising them after game 1 as well, a 5-0 show in there. But then sort of just dropping the ball in the next few games and giving Solary a chance back into the series. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the exact same thing happening here versus the Vodafone Giants.
That should have been a chance for Chalk. Stay the pass out. Zamway can't connect. They drop down. Flame up high, off the side. While Chalk's looking for this clear away, not going to work out. Pressure remains for Giants Gaming, hunting for that first goal. They need to redeem themselves after that game number 1. It was not pretty for them. They could not find any goals. They conceded that one disappointing own goal, and they are getting close to disappointing a goal right off the bat. As Archie, upfield he will go. Low on push cannot follow up in time. They drop into Casio, trying to find that open space. Back and forth at the moment, Giants Gaming have the possession, they have the pressure. The Top Blokes can do it well, get the clear upfield, get it away. But for how long will that last?
Not that long if they keep just putting it away from themselves. The passes not linking up at all. They go for quick touches, but then the quick touches aren't followed up instead of the Vodafone Giants. That's always a crazy dunk there from Archie. Gonna go out of absolutely nowhere for the top blokes. Cassiopeia trying to get one as well, almost dropping it in from the side of the goal. That was a tough angle yet again. But top blokes just keeping up pressure much better than the Vodafone Giants would. You would expect this to be the side of Vodafone Giants, just keeping up pressure and shot after shot. But instead, it's the top blokes.
The top blokes are the one putting the pressure on. Giants Gaming are dealing with it well and they're getting on the counter-attacks, but they need to do something on the counter-attacks. They're not found a goal as of yet. And with 2 minutes gone of game number 2, a scoreless game for now. Zamwe shot sky wide, nowhere near the back of the net. Able to drop the ball down centre, not working out. Archie's up now, a potential counter-attack, and he takes the ball by himself. Look for the flip reset, bet by Todd, a demo on Flame, eliminating that attack.
Oh, that
all by
should be
himself.
in.
The world champion caliber player, and he cannot finish it off so close. But what a run that was.
That was an insane run, but the save there from Flame, possibly even better than the run coming out there from, I believe it was Talks, and both of teammates was absolutely throwing themselves at that ball as well. The communication seems to be nowhere right now for this Vodafone Giants squad, and it's been paid off almost. Casio barely finding the back of the net, but it was Zamwe who was still back to save it.
Zamwe, round the back wall, coming centre. Archie can get the clear away, the pressure remains on the stake, sending that ball back in centre. Casio beats out Tops, the drop down, the launch upfield, a chance for Tops to send the ball in centre. Zamwe's up, beat on the attack, and that could be slipping in. That's to the corner. Oh, what a save from Stake. Oh, by the skin of his teeth, keeping that ball out. The score remains now with 2 minutes left. Some insanely close attempt, and that's another one. Oh, barely slipping by. Giants game is a crime. They haven't scored in the same game except for top blokes. What a game 2 this has been.
Oh, almost finding the goal there. It's and yes, Archie does find the goal. The pass from Casio makes it so that Top Blokes lead once more here in game 2.
Top blokes, they find the lead 1-0 in both game and series. Giants Gaming yet to score so far, and they've got to change that, because you need to score to win a game and you need to score to win the series. Nothing scored as of yet. It's not a reassuring fact going into game 3 and continuing with game number 2. They've got to get a move on. 90 seconds left, and Archie's not giving them a chance. He's straight back upfield, hunting for another, making it a 2-goal lead, trying to secure this game 2. They're getting close to doing so. They're still on attack. That's a shot, almost slipping by, but Todd's a magnificent save, barely keeping that one alive.
And it pains me to see how the Vodafone Giants are playing right now. Normally, I am so impressed by the fact that they can keep the communication up even when playing at the absolute highest of speeds, but the players are just missing balls that they normally would. The touches aren't as good as you expect them to be. They're double committing. It's just not a Vodafone Giants that we used to be seeing, Boyer.
Certainly it's not the drop down. Casio. That's given him by Zamwe. Finally finds a goal for Giants Gaming. One apiece, a messy clear away, and Zamwe takes full advantage.
Casio, very awkward touch there. Couldn't get it away. Just dropped down. And a goal found there. The first one of the series here being made by the Vodafone Giants, bringing themselves back into this game when they were struggling so hard, and I hope it's some sort of quick start that we're going to see out of the Vodafone Giants now. A bit of confidence boost. They found the goal now, they just keep it going now.
Bit of that ball, no follow-up in time. Stake is a demo, and Casio with an opportunity, but a booming clear away is going to say otherwise. Zamwe can take control, up high he will go. 50-50 be Archie, he will find a save. The pressure remains as tossed to the side wall. Stake, clear away, Casio upfield. 20 seconds left on the clock, overtime looking imminent at the moment. One apiece, 1-0 to top blokes in the series, could make it 2. Also find the goal in the coming seconds, sorry, they are on attack. Change now is Stake, a launch upfield, ping pong motion, just trying to find the opportunity. Archie, a 1-on-1, a tap up high, looking for the 0 set and goal, and Flame bringing it centre, not going to work out. And the ball approaches the ground, overtime looking definite and less talks, to the backboard, they drop down, overtime here we come.
Overtime in game 2 here for the Vodafone Giants, fighting so hard to stay in this series. It seemed like it was going to be top blokes on match point. They might still be there. Good save on the side of Zamwe. Make sure it doesn't quite happen yet. We might see it later on in overtime, because right now I am favouring top blokes still. I don't think that Vodafone Giants is playing as good as we want them to.
insanely close series this has been as Archie to the back wall, looking for the follow-up, not going to make it in time. Instead, top, free rein upfield to the corner. Challenged by Flame at the drop down, the clear out centre, that's the stake. Up high,
Oh,
a
what a
chance.
save.
But working out, the Flame getting chased by Torch, narrowly avoids the demo. Comes centre once more, Giants Gaming not holding off.
Oh.
That's a chance, saved by Casio. One more for Torch to bring it in centre. Hunting for this goal, still not slowing down. Zamway's up, a demo on Casio. Off the ceiling,
Zamway.
staying for the follow-up, bet by Flame. Still not in, Giants Gaming unrelenting attack, but they cannot find the back of the net.
And whenever they start to get really good chances and really start to pressure top blokes, there's a double commit and it means that they have to go back for boost. It's so unfortunate because the chances they create are very good. The shots are amazing. They can't work if you keep on double committing.
It is not going to work. Upfield Archie will go, beats out Talk, that's to the side, looking for the follow-up, but Casio rushing for the ball. The follow-up, coming centre, not finding the back of the net. 1 minute and 30 seconds of overtime gone, a goal yet to be scored. Giants Gaming, so much pressure, so many shots, but not a single one finding the back of the net in this 1 minute 40 seconds now. A chance, top bolts, looking for that opening. Archie might be able to do that with good 50-50, he'll take the ball high. Nobody's in the time with the ball launched out centre. Casio can't make it in time. The clock ticking up more and more. How long will this overtime go? That goal needs to be scored. It could be Talks to do it. Bet by Archie in the midfield, it's going to be shot down. The Giants Gaming so close.
Oh yeah, they are starting to ramp up, and I think this very long overtime is really favouring them now. It's starting to allow them to just get into that play style. They are starting to get more confident with their touches. They're trying these ceiling shots, trying these double taps. Yes, it's not working out. Yes, they haven't found the goal yet. If they keep this going, it will be a great sign of things to come for the rest of the series.
Off the corner, they clear away. Zamway trying to get the dribble, and then launches out upfield for Talks in the air, drops it down, Stake. Chance to find a bit of pressure, a bit more pressure I should say, as Giants Gaming. They have not slowed down this overtime. This is the speed we were talking about. A chance for Talk, beaten by Archie. Up high he'll go. A great second touch looking for the demo, and Zamway cannot find it. We can get the drop down. Flame takes control and again top bloke on the attack. Give them an opportunity. Up high. Talk gets the clear. Out to Stake it will go. Zamway trying to get a position, rushing upfield. Not going to work out just yet. 3 minutes of overtime now. Midfield battle at the moment. Both teams are looking for that opportunity. It might be top blokes' chance now to get an attack. Is Archie out to the corner, looking for that pass, not going to find anything. Talks up high, finds play. That's a shot, saved by Zamway. They drop down to Casio once more, leaves it for Archie. They stake upfield, not letting them go easy. A turn of pressure, keep it going. Giants Gaming want this goal, they want this game.
Unstoppable force meets unmovable object right now. Both teams not willing to give any type of space towards the other's. Flame now has a little bit. Can he find the punch? Oh, it drops down, but Tux is right there. It needs to be Casio, maybe now. He doesn't get the drop down either, and it's chances now on the side of top blokes. They are just really, one team is into offense and it switches completely from there on out. You can't predict who's going to take this one, Boyer. This might just be the closest game we've seen yet.
4 minutes of overtime now. Almost a full game. Worth it. Zamway wants to avoid that record and instead try and find the goal. Saved by Casio. Out to the side. The ball drops down. A clear away possible, but too slow in the approach. Zamway can bring it centre. Talks too far away. All the way in the back corner. A huge miss. Stakes there to find the save. No one on top bloke ready to follow up. The clock keeps ticking. Cassie will find the save. A clear to the side. 4 minutes 30 seconds now, and Cassie up high. Nova's in the tank. A great bump in Archie. Talk rushing back to defence. They can get it high. Giants Gaming another chance on attack, but Archie going down the midfield. Nothing in the tank. Giants Gaming starving the top bloke side. Low boost all around with a lead. All near full and boost. A shot saved by Archie. Still not in. Approaching a full game's worth of overtime now. 5 minutes on the clock in just moments time.
Oh, this is so close. You can't tell who's going to take this one, Boyer. Might just be a brilliant attack from Archie, or the team that is Vodafone Giants just switching up one more gear and finding that goal. Finally, Flame almost finding Casio right there. He tries a cheeky pre-flip, but I don't think anything that creative is going to make the difference right here, because everything seems to be read by both teams. They're on point with their positioning, they're on point with their touches now, and it's a pleasure to watch this overtime.
I think both teams are just waiting for the other to make a mistake and pounce on it. At the moment, it is perfect Rocket League to get a guess in defense. At least it is impeccable defense. They're making all the saves necessary. They're getting all the clears. That's another one. Barely kept away. Archie could not make it in time. Drop down, not working out. Flame that centre, no one to pass to. The clock just keeps on ticking. How long will this overtime go? They've only got so long in the day left, but that's up high. Flame to the backboard. The pressure remains. Great recovery from top low. Finally a mistake, but they deal with it well. Talks a shot, that's up high, out to stake, met by Flame. Oh, top low, survived by the skin over their teeth, and Giants Gaming must be frustrated at this stage that they have still not scored.
Oh yeah, almost an own goal making a difference here. That is awkward though. A great clear from Kasia Flame. Can he find the angle though? Archie does it! Pass top loads takes game 2.
Finally, after 6 minutes and 21 seconds, Top Blokes take the overtime. What a goal from Archie to finish it off. Flame excellent pass, and that puts Top Blokes 2-0 up in the series, and they head to match point.
Oh my lord, Desk was wrong, I was wrong. Vodafone Giants, I think, are gone at this point. It will take a massive thing from them to come back from this loss, because yes, it was super close. Yes, they could have taken it, but that was a 6-minute overtime that you end up losing, and now you're facing match point versus the Top Bloke squad, who will be absolutely on cloud 9.
And once again, I'm going to go back to the same thing with Giants Gaming. The boost in speeds. What on earth is this boost consumption? They have about, what, 3,000 more boost consumed. Tox alone almost has 2,000 more than Archie. Like, how much boost does one team need? They're only barely going faster this time around. They were a faster team this time, so the difference was clearly found and made. But how much boost is this team going to use, for goodness sake?
Yeah, for sure. Another thing worth pointing out is how long Stake was in the air. Throughout the 6-minute overtime, the 11 minutes that we had, an entire minute was spent in the air by Stake, just getting a lot of aerial touches. But overall, such a close game here, Boyo. And I think it really could have gone either way. This time it was Top Blokes just really clutching it out on that counter attack, and that was what I've been wanting to see from them, because their offense was good throughout this first series. I wasn't so fond of their transition from defense to offense, and now this is the way that they finish it off in the overtime. So I'm very happy with that.
Well, I must say, Joessi, I'm feeling very confident with my prediction now, but I'm not going to call it too soon. This has been an insanely close series. Game 1, only an own goal made a difference, and it was a really unfortunate mistake. Game 2, 11 minutes of game was played until a lead was found. Game 3, it could easily go Giants Gaming way. They could easily find this reverse sweep with how close this has been. I'm not going to count them out just yet, but I will say, Top Blokes have made me feel a lot more confident.
And I think that's going to be the most important thing here. I think you can really disregard what happened in the last 2 games. Yes, they were both very close, but I just mentally, I don't see Vodafone Giants coming back from this one. I don't think they're the type of team that have the mental fortitude that really is necessarily to just pull yourself through one of those reverse sweeps. So I'm afraid for them. I think we will be seeing them in the lower finals and in the lower bracket. But overall, they really have to show themselves now and show that they're a top tier team that can also really come back from a big deficit.
I'm not worried for Giants Gaming. I'm worried for whoever they'll be facing if they do go to the lower bracket. That is going to be a tough match to win. Imagine going to the first round of the lower bracket and you get faced off against Giants Gaming. That is not a fun sight to behold. So even if they do lose this, I have a lot of confidence in them going through that lower bracket, making a big push and potentially even qualifying through there. I don't think this is over for them. Top Blokes are just playing out of their mind today.
Yeah, for sure. And then if we see whoever is gonna lose this one, they will be facing off against Monkeys that we just saw play in the previous match as well on stream, which was an absolute banger. I feel like even though that was a 3-0, it didn't really feel like one. And I think if this one ends up going to the way of Top Blogs out of game 3, I will have the exact same feeling. Yes, it is a 3-0, but if you had told me it was a 3-0 in favor of Vodafone Giants, I would have believed you as well.
Well, we're probably getting game 3 started back up. A few lobby connection issues. We'll get that sorted in a moment's time. Apologies for the break, but we get our players back in, just getting things ready. Joessi, are you going on the top look sweep, or do you think Giants Gaming can start to pull this back?
I am very scared because I am not one to back away from predictions that happened before the game. However, with the way that these two games are going, and especially how the last one ended up, I do not see Top Blogs losing this one anymore. I don't quite think it might happen in the next game, but for Vodafone Giants to really pull off the reverse sweep is something that I don't see them doing. However, like always, I'd love to be proven wrong.
I would love to be proven wrong as well, and I think Vodafone Giants, I've hyped them up so much, even saying how if they head to the lower bracket, they could still easily win. I fully believe that in them. But I think, as you mentioned, that mental fortitude, it has not been shown to us. They haven't showed their ability, really, for a comeback. They've showed they're really good, and they're really good against these RLCS teams, able to take them down. But they haven't showed us that ability of, we can come back from a deficit, and we can make it a really good comeback. We can dismantle a team. They have not showed us that yet. Maybe this is the day they show. Maybe this is the change of Giants Gaming, and they pull off the, well, we're pretty much calling it this stage a miracle.
Yeah, I really hope so, but I think the biggest issue with them so far is that they are a team that really relies on their mechanics, right? They want to go for every ball as quick as they can and really pressure your opponent. And yes, they've done that, but they've really just, their touches in general haven't been too great. Whenever they're in offense, if they go for a certain touch, it ends up going towards the Top Blogs 9 times out of 10, and it just doesn't allow them to keep up pressure. They need to be more really careful just with their possession inside the half of the Top Blogs.
I think for sure, and going on to the subject of Top Blogs, you mentioned it a lot about how a lot of their clears, you know, are very dangerous. They are kind of a bit too far away for them to follow up, instead maybe meeting a Giants Gaming player. We've seen the goal that Top Blogs conceded was due to exactly that, a clear meeting a Giants Gaming player just ready for the shot, and they've done a good job for the most part of avoiding that, but there's still a good bit of work to do in that regard. And I think if they can get some more substantial clears, find where each other are in the defenses, are really good at that in the offense. They're really good positioning, they're really good at knowing where each other are in the offense, but defense I think still needs a little bit of work.
I agree, but I do think that they've already gone a long way since the first series that we saw from them today. I think at times they were really struggling in that first series and they couldn't quite get the touches that they wanted. But in this series, I feel like their spacing in defenses is much better. Whenever there is someone that will be going for a clear, there is other teammates on the sides, on either sides more often than not, just ready to receive a pass. And it makes it so easy and so dangerous as well to transition from defense to offense, because basically in a matter of seconds you can go from defending to scoring a goal in your opposition.
I think so far this season, if I remember correctly, it's been a total of 4 goals scored. This is the whole series. The first match Top Blogs played against Solary, it was 5-0. So this is a low scoring series, which shows us how close it is. These teams are really putting a defensive performance in, and I have to give them that credit. The defense has been immaculate. Some slight mistakes obviously with clears, and that is obviously going to happen. And I think if they can work in these, both of these teams could cause a lot of trouble in the groups.
And it also shows some adaptability though, Boyer, just highlighting the 5-0 win that they got earlier versus the way that they are now. They are so clinical now in defense. They had a lot of issues earlier on in their defense. They've been sorted out, and now they're ready to get the clean sweep here versus the Vodafone Giants.
And I think speaking quickly on that adaptability, that ability to change, be a lot more clinical, as you mentioned, is of course he's got an excellent coach behind him, the coach of the Bricks roster back in the day. They were the coach of Triple Trouble. Rams has been a great asset for this team, and it is shown with his coaching prowess, they has helped him greatly. But Coaching can only get them so far. They also have to put the shift in, play the game well enough, and they've been doing exactly that so far. But game number 3, will they find the sweep? Or will we have a 4th game under our hands? They pretty much had 4 already with how long that overtime was. So will we get an official 4th game? Or will this become a sweep?
I think the person who is in charge of all the scheduling won't be too happy if we go to game 4, game 5 here, because that was one hell of a long overtime. But I'd love to see these two teams battling out all the way. We might just see that because Vodafone Giants does find the goal here in game 3.
A 1-0 start, talks down to Zamwa, able to finish. Oh, Casio just too slow in the net. Punished for possessioning. 1-0 Giants Gaming, a good start. And a way better start actually than the last few games. An early goal is exactly what they need. They do not need to be coming back, they need an early goal.
They need an early goal for sure. I do like the fact that Vodafone Giants has been able to shake off that overtime loss from them. I mean, it is always hard to lose in overtime, let alone an overtime that takes absolutely ages, and especially if it's on match point as well. But now Vodafone Giants just starting off this one strong, putting themselves into the driver's seat for this game 3, kind of just breaking the momentum that would have been in favor of top blokes.
Oh, Casio, speaking of momentum for top blokes, the momentum on that ball is going to exceed something. 114 kilometers an hour, a rocket to the corner. And it's 1 apiece now. Top blokes quick to tie things up.
And it's that really just not being too careful with possession that we were talking about earlier, Boyo. Now on the side of Vodafone Giants, that should have been a clear towards his teammate. You just bang it upfield and then you start your own attack instead. And kind of a miss touch, it ends up going to Casio. He scores it, and now that great start that you had is just completely gone.
Game 1 apiece. How long will that last? The state takes the ball high. Saved by Casio. Off the back wall, they drop down, looking for that chance to break away, but Talks, he says otherwise. Brings it back down centre. It's flaming the ball. Archie rushing back. Casio can rotate in. Takes a high over 1. The drop down centre. It's a chance for Talks to the backboard. Cannot follow up in time. Zamway's shot saved by Casio. State will keep things going. Looking for this goal to take the lead. Up high above net once more. Half the game gone. 1 apiece. Similar to game number 2, but that's a breakaway. That's bound to go in. 2-1 top blokes.
Where is the defense there for the Vodafone Giants? Everyone is so far upfield. 2 on the left side, 1 on the right side, but all of them in front of the goal. No one is back. You need to play this with a 3rd man, because right now you're giving away 3 goals to top blokes who are already on match point.
Match point. They've got the lead. Can they hold on, or can Giants Gaming bring this back? If Flame takes it out in the corner, a great dunk, drop it down in front of net to save from Talks. Upfield he will go. He's got the boost to find a pass. He's going to do exactly that. Out to Zamway. A great save from Archie. A great 50 from Flame, and that gets the ball away. Casio up high, looking for another. Try and find a 2-goal lead, and a 1-goal lead is not safe. It's such a close series that anything can slip by. They want to extend upon this lead. Instead, Giants Gaming might tie things up. They'll do exactly that. Stake makes it 2. 2 each. 2 minutes left. Game number 3. So close.
The entire day though, Boyo, the backboard defense on all of the team has been so sloppy. Monkeys as well. So many times where the ball just drops down in front of their net and it gets finished off, and that's what we see here from top blokes as well. No one to save the backboard. Everyone just kind of stuck in goal, and it's an easy follow-up there for Stakes finding that 2-2.
Talks beating to the ball. Archie up high. Looking to slip that into the bottom corner. Not going to work out. Stake avoids the demo. And over 1 he'll go. Zamway. Too slow. That's to the side. Talks. Upfield. Looking for the pass. Not going to work out until they send it to the back while we're playing ready to take control. Aggressive play. Bumps and demos is what Giants need to do. They're doing exactly that. Zamway drops the ball down. The pass out. Casio, upfield Archie will go, the flick over 1, met by Stake in the back half. And it's stayed away from Giants Gaming, 2-2, increasing by a goal each game it seems. 1-1 last game, 2-2 this time. All we get to if we go any further. At the moment, such a close affair once more. I think it'll be the closest sweep ever if top blokes take this, honestly.
I mean, there's a minute left in this game, Boyo, but I think we might just see another very long overtime if this just continues the way that it has, even though I do feel like Vodafone Giants are growing stronger and stronger the longer this game just goes on. But that's a great dunk, Archie. Finding another goal here for Top Blokes.
And Archie, what a player he's been all day long. Forces his way through the dunk on Zamway. That's another 3-2. Time is running out for Giants Gaming. There is not long left for them to make this comeback. One goal needed, 40 seconds left on the clock. Otherwise, they'll be heading to the lower bracket.
And it's looking more and more like it is, and I was ready to ridicule you for your predictions earlier on, Boyo, but it seems like you're going to be spot on. Top Blokes now getting complete control. Archie was finding that double tap. We've yet to see one today. It's not been the most of mechanical game so far. It's been very clean and very smart on all sides of the pitch today.
The ball travels high, coming in centre. Stake over the top to bring this game back. Tosses high, the drop down. Oh, it barely misses. Archie has time to get the clear away. Did it run down the clock? 5 seconds left. That's coming centre. The top falls under. One last chance on target. Saved by Flame. The ball touches the ground and Top Blokes. They head to the winners' finals, and more importantly, they find the sweep over Giants Gaming.
God, if you want to call yourself a world champion, you need to be scoring that kind of opportunities. That was such a good try from Talks, but I was expecting him to score that, boy. I've seen him score it more than once, possibly more than 50% of the time he does go for them, but nothing really seemed to be going in the favor of the Vodafone Giants today. They are such a strong team when it is their day, but that was not the case today.
Well, it's not their day today, but well, tomorrow will be their day, of course. They will be heading to the lower bracket, and they'll be facing off against Monkeys in that lower bracket. That's going to be a very tough match for Monkeys. I'm going to put that out there already. I wish them the best of luck. Giants Gaming is no easy match. And more importantly, Top Blokes, they move to the winners' finals, and who will the opponent be? We'll find that out in our very next match today, and it's going to be a really good match as well. This great match all around today, to be honest. It's Endpoint versus Team Singularity. Oh, well, I'm excited for that one. I'll be watching that one from the sidelines, of course. But before we go to that match, we'll be heading to a very quick break, so be sure to stick around. We will not be long. We're coming up with a very good match.
Welcome back to Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix here on the Monday, our very first day. And we just saw Giant Gaming play versus Top Blokes, and that game had it all. It had long overtimes, it had fast gameplay. What it didn't have, though, is even a single win from Giants Gaming. Here with Boyoroyo and Joessi, we're once again breaking down that game. How close did Giants come to winning this one? Or just doing anything, really, in that game?
It was genuinely so close. Like, yeah, I mean, both of us, I don't think either of us really know how it was that close, yet still a sweep, right, Boyer?
Yeah, exactly. It was the closest we have seen it in a while. It reminds me more of that Vitality Energy match back at Beyond the Summit last year. It was an insanely close sweep, and it's one of those ones where it's just, you feel bad for Giants. The scoreline doesn't reflect their performance, but at the end of the day, that's the scoreline they earned, and it was just a harsh reality of it. They kept it so close, but they need to do better than close. They need to win.
Well, we've noted that we were hoping at least to see Giants Gaming employ that really fast style of play, and really by pace they were on par or even higher than Top Blokes, and we have spotted that the boost usage was through the roof. They seem to have adjusted that for the final game, but it didn't give them any results. Was the plan flawed from the beginning, or do you think there's still some merit to this incredibly fast play where just overwhelm your opposition?
I think in general, I like the way that the Giants have played, and they've got their own play style in which they have these offensive rotations, but it really just felt like the communication wasn't there like it normally is for this team. Normally, you see them just going in one by one, getting shot after shot, and then really just switching it up with a slow play with one of those crazy flip resets for them to shake it up. And we didn't see any of that today because they were often double committing, and then they had to go all the way back in defense, or there was just no one in defense when all three players are all the way upfield.
Which brings me to the next point. Boyo, it felt like the Top Blokes, one of their strengths was their counterattack, and that seemed to play in what Joessi has just said, that the Giants side were just too eager on those attacks and were left vulnerable when it came to bringing the ball to the side of the Top Blokes. Then, of course, it bit them pretty big time with all of those goals that Top Blokes have scored from the counters. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Oh, I totally agree. Top Blokes, they went under a lot of pressure, and Giants Gaming is what we expected from them. We expected them to put a lot of pressure on and really challenge the Top Bloke side. They did do exactly that, but Top Blokes dealt with it really well, and we've seen them a few times have open net chances, have open net goals, because Giants Gaming, they're pushed so far upfield that they are committing to this play, and when they're not scoring, they're not used to that. They are used to getting these goals from those plays, and they're getting punished greatly for it. So it's something they need to adapt to and have that last man back, have someone ready to go defend.
Well, sometimes the offense is the best defense. In the case of Giants Gaming, they really seem to need to think about the defense. They'll have plenty of time to think. Once again, their next game is going to happen tomorrow, as they're going to be faring against Monkeys, who we saw earlier also getting swept that time by Endpoint, and Solari is currently waiting for their opponent from the next game. That's going to be either Team Singularity and Endpoint. And that, of course, brings us to that final game of the day. Well, I'm looking at that matchup, and as you've already said on the stream previously, Team Singularity and Endpoint must be the highlight of today. Are you looking towards that match as much as I am?
I am, yes, 100%. I think Endpoint, like I said before, is a team that I really enjoy to watch because they bring something completely new to the table. But Singularity has that adaptability. I think Tho and Noli are just two very strong plays, but then Scrub is a bit more versatile. He has his own play style, but he's able to adapt, and I think that is through playing all those ones games where you have to adapt to your opponent, otherwise you're never going to win. And I think that might be really tough for Endpoint because you have this one thing that works really well, but what if a team can adapt to it and just play around it?
Looking at that roster, really, Scrub Kill. I think for you as well, Boya, you'll be looking out for Singularity Scrub. He has made a little bit of a journey as of late, but now finding yet another team, really whoever he would join in RLCS would benefit greatly from it. You feel like Team Singularity might be a good fit for him?
I think it can be a good fit, but they've not performed as of late, which has really surprised me. I thought that team of Noli Scrub would have had some really good results, and it has been lackluster at best. I'm hoping that this is maybe the change that they need, and this could be the start of something better for them. But Endpoint, I think, is a team that look more like a unit and look more like they are ready to play and are not having to hope on some big change for them.
Well, there's a lot of hope for Team Singularity. Endpoint are also looking to bounce back after their previous result. We've seen a lot of cases with the teams that we're going to be seeing throughout the week, where they have managed to win their first big tournament, or at least put a good result in their first big tournament that they participated in, and then the result sharply fell off. And as we have been discussing before, this seems like a perfect time for the teams to actually get in and cement whatever the results they haven't really figured out. Is this a good combo? Is this not a good combo? Sometimes, of course, it requires time, but it only remains a question whether these teams are going to stick with whatever they're having. But for Team Singularity and Endpoint, well, a big test starts in just a moment. So it's time for the predictions. Joessi, whether you want to prefer Singularity or Endpoint, and what the scoreline is going to be, that's my question for you.
I think Endpoint is going to take this one. They're very reliant on Virtuoso because he is the one that creates everything basically in offense. You just got Metza and Wave who really just provide the foundation for Virtuoso to do whatever he wants in offense. And his creativity was insane in the previous series as well. Either going for bumps like we expect him to, but also pulling out a massive fake and then pushing the ball through two defenders in that last goal that he got in that series. And I just see him with such pop-off potential. I think it's going to be too much for Team Singularity to handle. So I'm going to say, I think 3-1.
Oh, well, sorry, that speed just makes me believe. All of a sudden, you've turned my attention towards Endpoint. I'm thinking, yes, they of course can do that. Boyo, has he done the same for you, or are you on the camp of Team Singularity?
You know, I was already having a similar sentiment to him. I think he's cemented my views a little bit more. I think Endpoint, they have that team cohesion, they have that play style that's just really, really hard to deal with and take down. So I'm going to give this to Endpoint. I think I'm going to also go for a 3-1. I go going against the seeding, Joessi and I are, but I have faith in this team. I think that they are going to do it.
Well, there is a lot of hope lying around. Let us know in the Twitch chat as well which one of the teams you're supporting. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of fans for both Team Singularity and Endpoint. Well, it only remains for us to hear from the two remaining folks here over on the broadcast. It's going to be DannyBoy and for the first time today, Digital Bacon. We're all envying you here on the desk of having to cast that match, but the field is yours. The mic is yours. Take it away.
We get to hop onto the mic, Danny, and I don't know about you, but I am so excited for this Singularity versus Endpoint, which has become such an awesome rivalry to see as time has gone on. Both teams, of course, promoting to the RLCS at the same time, and now we get to see them once again here in the Summer Grand Prix.
As fabulous as you did say it, we also had the fact Endpoint coming earlier, Singularity and higher seed. We've seen a bit of the debate around, but very little talk, to be fair, on the dash there about Scrub Killer moving in for Godsmiller Bacon. That is surely the focal point. That former world champion comes in here, has an interesting start in terms of his career with Singularity. It's Harry bounces from this one, and Bacon, I'd like to know what you think about that.
I mean, Scrub Killer coming in for Godsmiller, I think, is an upgrade. Like we said at the time, Scrub has got a great power about him, and of course naturally as well, when you look at it from a business perspective, coming in as one of the biggest streamers within Rocket League, you can't blame Singularity for wanting to pick him up as well as an org. Coming into this, he's sort of given them that sort of experience. I'd say Scrub has been within the competitive scene for so long, being at the top end, even a world champion, you know, so he offers them that sort of experience and that maturity within the team, and it's going to be one that this is the real tell for Singularity as we get onto this pitch, whether it has paid off, because of course they've got to make it through this sort of pseudo qualification bracket as we get underway. Endpoint CEX in the blue, Team Singularity in the orange. Danny, this is one which I think is going to be an awesome way to end the day.
Well, should be a way that will be memorable. Of course, plenty 6 full days, high level talent, funny players, teams, and everything else in between. But so far, relating with just teasing, plucked his opportunities at a pass. Oh, what a save by the killer! But it's Metenčuks who just slams
Metza will be getting the goal, but all credit must go to Relating Wave and Virtuoso for the cheat up. All three lads needed for that play to get the opener for this series, Danny. What a way to do it.
Oh, this is going to be intriguing, and it's at a kickoff already. We've seen one earlier on the streak, yet to come, and Scrum Killer back into the backboard. They stack and really wave. This is what I love to see. Calm, collected, moves it into the corner. Nice transition to the pass and play, but Vert should take this one up the wall. Doesn't. Really wave the bail him out.
Yeah, and you can see Scrub getting straight onto that, wanting to apply that pressure. Nolly to the center, though, going for the top left corner, and he will find it. Just past the 1 minute mark, 1-1. We knew this game was going to be awesome. But it is just delivering so much better than expected.
Oh, yes, it does. And with this as well, Bacon, very little in terms of what we've seen from defense, the offense sizzling, but we'll have to see how that progresses further on as Relating Wave beaten, but it's met straight up. Nolly pulls it down, Relating Wave backs away, winds to do so. It's Vert, Nolly, double commit. Bit shaky here in that 90 seconds mark, but Nolly with the ball, with possession off the backboard, and yet we go again.
Indeed we do. Off towards the wall. Good touch from Scrub Killer. Well received by Relating Wave. Nolly going to beat him in a 50-50 though. Metza going to keep this tight to the wall. Reduce any angles towards net. Keep it tight to him as well. Dribble it away. Means those 50-50s should come out and force it down into the orange half. Metza again onto the ball. Virtuoso going to allow that pass, and he's going to be punished for it as that ball is pushed downfield. Virtuoso on the end of it though, after once again great synchronization from Endpoint coming on through. Hit after hit, these lads are finding each other and bailing each other out of situations like we saw that from Virtuoso earlier.
They might bail out each other for so many times, so they're not reliant on, as I said, Metz was the MVP player on that game early on stream, and he's trying to do a bit of magic into the corner. Vert replies in the identical same way. Scrub Killer though hands possession over. Oh, with a quick shot, moves in mid. Scrub has to turn for this. 50s away, and Nolly. Oh, have you been caught napping? Thankfully not. Moments like that, Bacon, cautious your games. Could be the series too. It's on fine margins, this one already.
Yeah, like we saw from Metza earlier, the clearance down into the center and it was sent back to net. He was able to recover himself, but still found themselves in dodgy positions, both sides of the pitch. Nolly on the ball, up to the ceiling. We'll get that past Virtuoso, but Relating Wave once again there to bail him out. And look at that, back into the center after it's bounced off the wall. Relating Wave going to get the second for Endpoint.
Just weird decision making there, Bacon. I mean, Thole pushes up, Scrub giving possession away, breakdown in communication. Be interesting to see what singularities coach does in that situation, but a quick response is required. Nolly trying to receive in that regard. Doesn't happen. Thole just lobs that one downfield. Possession seems to be lost, but what a sneaky shot to sneak on in.
It was absolute ninjas on the pitch here, being able to just get themselves slyly into the back lines, up high as well, out of sight. Relating Wave going to keep this to the wall. He wants to slow down play, allow time for his teammates to go grab boost. Of course, with this new overlay, you can see those stats, and you can see that demo as low is just going to absolutely full send it.
Oh, well, Bacon. Just the demo, they open the door. We haven't seen many teams do it tonight. Endpoint are receiving a hammering. They are being smashed physically. They're either going to have to play the same way or play smarter. Either to be interested to see how they adapt. They could concede right here. Pinch right away. Infield pass surely, and nobody goes on the end of that one.
Teetering on the edge of a cliff this match right now. Either side can take it. Coming up to the 1 minute mark. Nerves got to be steeled. It's a good move over to the side from Scrub Killer. Well cut out from Relating Wave though on the ball. Allowed it time, but Virtuoso was watching it so well. Nolly out off wide, but Metza is there. Crystal Ball in tow, predicting his opponents to the tee. Though will find a bit of space, but Metza well retreated back into his own line, is able to pick it on up, maneuver it downfield, will find Relay and Wave. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to keep a hold of it. Virtuoso out wide to Metza now, shot powerfully down, but Nolly on the goal line will keep this out, clear it downfield. Relay and Wave caught into the rotation very well onto that one.
Good control, but pose in such situations. My problem here, both are nervy, 2 goals apiece here, and this is already game 1, quick shot. It's a good tester, we'll use it. Metz what he can do with it. Very little challenge by Phil, and we could already have OT. We've seen plenty, we've seen how nerves it can be. Metz over the Relay Wave, right, come on Wave, you can hit to the backward, gets it cleared away. Bert can only just hit that one high. OT, here we are.
Danny, I've got to ask, can you see any strength to either one of these two sides right now?
Oh, this is a good question. Singularity's demo game, but Mercy also creativity. Oh, and you're not seeing a dose of it there, but Bacon, forget about what their strength is what the weakness in this OT is going to be the breaking point.
Yeah, and that's a good slowdown by Nolly in the back lines. Allows time for his teammates to grab boost. Re-equates the equation right now. Gets things evened up on both sides. You can see Endpoint wanting to find a way to get this ball downfield, wanting to find a way to gain an advantage, but they are locked into the blue half. Scrub Killer on the ball. Weird touch, trying to fake out Virtuoso, but he is unfazed. Relay and Wave slowly onto that. Nolly takes it out wide to the side, wants to steal the boost away, and will. Virtuoso downfield with a demo, however. Good 50-50 coming from Low. Will buy time as Relay and Wave gets a shot, puts it deep, but Nolly is there on the line to keep it out.
Good, smart defense with Singularity. Realized there was one there in a better position. Just chisel it out. Fabulous to see. Wise, and this time Nolly over to Scrub. That one's off to the backward. Any touch? No! Net's exposed for the time being. Virtus to move in. Full quick little play. They're moving ever so closely. Inch into the shot line. Wave just dishes that one out. 2 goals apiece. Cannot be separated. 1 minute 30 deep in this OT.
I will say though, look at that boost right now. Virtuoso has just picked up 100. Metza on near to nothing. But throughout the entirety of that play, Danny, throughout the entirety of that onslaught, the lads of Endpoint were making sure that they still kept 20 in the tank. It meant that they could jump up and get those saves going. What a pickup from Layaway for Scrub Killer. Fast enough to get back.
Phil moves across there. As you said, Scrub's ability to read the game is keeping Singularity in it. It's on the wall, trying to move it via the corner. Mid-lane, Metz moves it in. That's all brilliant. Again, it's not even Braun, it's Metz's brain they're trying to tease with, but Virtuoso quiet on the demo, has been quiet so far in this game. He's had 4 shots there, and waiting patiently for Metz's play. Nolly blocks, Relay with shots there, and Tho deals with it once again.
Once again, but look at Metza. Not going to be able to connect with the ball. Relay and Wave puts out wide to Virtuoso. He's got a cheeky little touch on that, and this is going to be awkward to deal with as Virtuoso keeps the pressure on. Relay and Wave just waiting for it. Virtuoso with another touch, but it's uncomfortable for Relay and Wave. The demo coming out as well onto him, so this should be a burst of energy right now for Singularity, but Virtuoso holds that in for the 50-50, gets another as he falls onto the ball. Scrub Killer, not the greatest of touches, but Nolly is there to pick it up. 50-50 from him. We'll send this down into the corner, and Metza just going to let it leak out to the middle. That's unexpected of Relating Wave. A bit too slow onto that, and so it's blocked on out. Interesting times. As we're now over 3 minutes into OT, and it doesn't look to be ending anytime soon.
Well, Jack can have their predictions. How long OT's last? So far, it's on the cusp of maybe 5. I'm hoping for 20 at least. Here is Nolly. Blocks around Scrub Killer. Anywhere in the middle, he's going for the ceiling to play this one. Anybody beat it? What a 50! Moves across. Virtual's trying to shuffle the ball around, making sure that his own teammates back to cover. The angles are getting closed down here. Singularity scratching their head. Pinch right, he's done it! In point! Well, they might need to sharpen it because that was a blunt entrance.
The pitch with the floor after he sends it so high, climbs the ladder, and then brings everyone from Endpoint back down to earth. Danny, we talked earlier about Scrub Killer joining this team and how much it meant to Singularity if it was going to work for them. And right there, I think that's your answer.
Oh, we could sit here and agree, disagree on what's the possibility. But when you have the world champion former, mind you, Scrub Kill in that situation, Bacon, you just sit there and go, bow down to one of the kings of our esports, and you just have to respect that. Endpoint, though, to give credit to them, block shots, moves the ball around. They tried to shuffle around Singularity, just couldn't break it through.
Yeah, and you can see from the stats on this end screen, right at the bottom, I want to call into question field domination and ball possession. Those are two incredibly important stats. And where they're basically 50%, okay, Singularity just getting 2% more ball possession. That's showing how even this game is. These teams know each other inside and out. They've played each other so often. They are the greatest of rivals at the moment within Rocket League, I believe. And these stats show it. They are so even in every aspect, and it's going to take every ounce of energy just to be able to etch out a win over each other.
It's going to be a battle. There's no doubt about it. We can sit here and talk about rivalries, and we could probably list up from a historical point of view to what's currently, but these two here, this is match of the day for us. There's no doubt about that. And if this doesn't go to a best of 5, we've been robbed.
True, like when we were looking on the opposite side, Top Blokes versus Giants game, and that was a contention, but that was a 3-0. Giants only being able to post up 3 goals. So Singularity, Endpoint, you've got to give us the full 5, and that's what we're expecting right now. We're back onto the pitch. It's Urban Central, and it's another 5 minutes up on the clock. And we've also seen Singularity try and get a lot of field dominance straight off the back, sending the ball down to the blue end. But to me, Danny, anyway, this isn't looking incredibly well controlled.
It's not controlled, but the issue is how do you adapt? You've been in a sticky sort of OT situation. You have to find a biting point, and they're trying to do it in game 2, so it's going to be fast, loose, pacey, but you know what? Maybe a few like that may have a slippery mistake there. The Mets trying to play smart to open a door there against Singularity. Was firmly shut against them though. But the opening minute goalless. Don't expect it to last for any longer.
That ball was left alone for way too long. Relay and Wave able to keep the pressure going. Realistically, Singularity should have been able to get it on out. They're being punished right now as pressure resumes. Metza off the backboard looking for Relay and Wave. It is stopped in the middle of the pitch. Scrub looking for though, but unfortunately just cannot climb the ladder quick enough. Those steps too far apart. And it's cost them once again. Endpoint resume the siege. Hit after hit, shot after shot, they just lay it down. Metza gonna just bring this in close, but well done by Singularity. Keep it wide of the mark, and this is a beautiful breakaway from Nolly, but though it's an absolute tank keeping it on the line. None shall pass by him.
Oh, what a good stoppage. But unfortunately, Bacon, it's only worth 1. Even the goal did slip through. There's plenty of time to move around and relate the wave. It's trying to play a block here at the midline. It gives Endpoint a few ways to play around. What a shot! It's at the halfway line. The keeper deals with it safely. Nolly the throw. Cuts out now. And Endpoint on borrowed time for the time being. 3 minutes gone. There again, Nolly just throws possession away here. You're talking about that ball possession, field dominance, that stat being so key. They have to use it much more smartly than what we've seen so far in game 2.
Talk about Endpoint on borrowed time, and Metza, the flying Finn, is just going to shut you up, Danny. What a double touch this is off the backboard.
Metza Norris can say that all day long if he keeps doing that. What a player he is. Doesn't get enough credit what he rightly deserves. One of the best players. All of them you can make an argument for, but Metza Norris is like that gold standard. Drop below him, you're going to get beat. Rise above him, you have a career, a future here, but Virtuoso trying to build one for himself here, and straight into Nolly. Defends well, Singularity needs to get this one away though.
Yeah, you think about Metza right now. This is a bit of a redemption arc for him, isn't it? After last season, not getting the results he wanted, though, well, season before that on top, you could even argue to some extent. So coming into this, it is all on Metza to evolve this Endpoint team who had a better than expected season last time round in RLCS, and he's been doing it. It's been a massive bolstering for this side. But again, Singularity have done the exact same thing. So little separating these two teams. Nice little demo onto Metza there, coming out from Scrub Killer though. Looking to get that up and over, but Metza back in the lobby, back in defense as well. Let's drop that down. It's going to be awkward though, blocked out by Relating Wave, Bull High. Relating Wave will be the first one onto it, sends it downfield, a great clearance, and allows time for Endpoint to recollect themselves.
Without for much longer. Oh, what a cheeky play. Endpoint is trying to play Starly Scrub Killer, playing with basics there. Oh, this is horrendous. Diabolical defense here by Singularity. It was a slip up in the bowling alley, and they've just got a strike against themselves.
A moment of panic. I don't know why you'd hit that back towards the middle, back to your own net. That's when team communication is so vital, where you've got to be all on the same wavelength. And yes, Singularity haven't been together for the longest period of time, but still, those are the basics right there. Singularity slip-ups might have just cost them game 2. Sure, they've got the safety net after game 1, but 50 seconds remaining. I want to see at least a goal from them right now, Danny, because they need to get their heads back in the game.
You say they need a goal, I would say there's no need to concede. If the third one goes in, well, you can sit there potentially laugh it off or try to relax, but when the third goes in, you're sitting there absolutely furious, frustrated maybe with yourself, potentially with the teammates, and you get this sort of solo type plays over. Singularity will be grateful for 60 seconds to calm down, relax, and take stock of what they've got here. But 2-0 against them in game 2, well, I think this shows you Endpoint really are dominating.
They are currently dominating, but I thought he wasn't going to be able to get it. Though, gets the goal I asked for, Danny, right there. That brings them back on in. That's going to be a motivational boost going into game number 3. But who knows? A kickoff goal? It's still on the cards.
You might be suggesting something incredible, but so far, how many kickoffs we've seen in that situation? Not many. Stop dead. Endpoint. Well, is this a team to book potentially a qualification? Well, winners finals tomorrow, that's what they're playing for, and still have the chance of, well, basically a second life.
Definitely, and this is a game which is definitely favored Endpoint so much more, where they were just able to control, dictate the pace. And the problem is, Danny, though, I was looking at that and they weren't really dictating the boost. You can see that actually by Singularity here using up more boost. So what was the major difference between these two teams in game 2?
Well, game 2, at least within the case of Endpoint, they worked out what Singularity was trying to do. They were trying to find passes or pockets to play, and once they closed that down, it's really is how do you disperse the ball, how do you move it around, and if you have Metzenors able to pick those passes away, this team will play absolutely well. Singularity, too much of wires being crossed. It looked like there was an issue in comms. Bar that factor, it's how Singularity responds from here right on now.
Yeah, how do they respond? I don't want to be using the cliche, the cringe. Now it's effectively a best of 3 sort of scenario, but it's true. It's what it is, you know, at the same time. Singularity have thrown away any advantage, and the playing field has just been evened. Endpoint pull themselves back on into this series and doing it in such a way that if I was Singularity right now, Danny, I would be scared because every single attempt by Singularity was blocked out. That goal at the end, credit where credit's due, but they were making some major slip-ups. I mean, one of Endpoint's goals was just down to slip-up, a sheer moment of panic. And if you're at this level, those moments of panic only multiply, don't they? It's not that case of it's one and done. Quite often it's a case of it is a ginormous snowball that just turns into an avalanche.
Well, that goal that you're referring to, Bacon, if you play that type of shot, you have to have a reliance that your team's in the right position. They were still rotating. They weren't organized. You can sit there and have as much as you want. Singularity needs to trust each other. Without that factor, they're going to struggle. They're playing against Endpoint, the best team of disrupting any. Simple as that.
Definitely simple. And Endpoint is always one of those weird ones because, like you said, they are the best disruptors as a team, and that though largely comes down to Virtuoso. I mean, he is known to demo more than any other player there is in Rocket League currently, and I've actually seen him a bit quiet on that demo front so far today. So why do you think that is? What is currently going for Endpoint for them to change it up, or is it just literally after that last game they didn't feel the need to pull out those strats?
Well, the way Endpoint has been playing, it's a simply case. Relating Wave doesn't need to sit back. Virtuoso doesn't need the demo. We've seen how Virtuoso was maybe circling around, play around. They know Singularity game. They know it inside out. They don't need to get in the heads of Singularity. They can rely on that factor. But at this point here, you talked about that factor. Singularity is the higher seed coming in here. Endpoint is the one who has to prove themselves. And so far, if they get this win against Endpoint, yeah, they're going to have to bring out Vert's massive demo. And if he doesn't do that, the question is, why didn't he do it earlier?
Big questions being posed there. But Danny, we're hopping back onto the pitch. This time we're hopping onto Manfield, a crowd favorite. And this game has got to be a crowd pleaser as they're going to win over fans here and take an advantage. 5 more minutes up on the clock if you're just tuning on in. Endpoint in the blue, Singularity in the orange. Furthermore, what on earth were you doing this evening to miss such great Rocket League going down? But we'll forgive you because you're here and now. And right now, it's Singularity on the attack.
Oh, go on, Nolly straight up around. Who's willing to punish? And so far, really, and we have one missed scrub killer. The backboard, it's an interesting strategy. The pass was there for the option. And Singularity backs away from it. They are trying to reduce the team play. They're trying to throw Endpoints off. You talked about that moment of it is Endpoint's game to lose. And though out does the team. And that should have been scored. Though it's time to go back to high school with that play.
How'd you even do that? I'm boggled right now, Danny, but let's just keep on going as Virtuoso is going to stall the ball up in the air, finds Metza off it. He's going to have a 10th play himself. Nolly, though, keeps it under great control onto Scrub Killer, and that is driven the whole way down pitch. Virtuoso hitting it with the underside of his car, so it will slow down, makes it awkward for his teammates, and that is not a confident touch from Relating Wave, and Nolly is there to punish.
Oh, just moves across pinch. Really, he has one option, really. Playing it middle in that situation is just the wrong idea. Play it tight, keep it to the post. You can play from the 50 at that point there. Singularity gifted a terrible lead here in Game 3.
So Singularity almost caught redemption after Game 2, but 1 goal's not enough to convince me, Danny. Relating Wave puts it high. Scrub Killer down to earth. Good 50-50 from Virtuoso. Relating Wave is there on the opposite end. Blocked out by Nolly. Metza will get this wrapped around to the middle. Here comes Relating Wave. A powerful hit, and it is too powerful to save.
Do you remember that question is what's changed with Virtuoso? Well, the ticking bomb has been exploded. He is just waiting for the opportunities, technically picking them out. Does it there, went for the bomb, and Scrub Killer, well, failed to do what really we have also achieved. Does not clear the safe area, concedes one, and now Endpoint. The chance to play in Singularity's mindset.
Virtuoso is not a play you want to anger. He literally turns into a beast and demolishes whatever he sees in front of him. Currently in front of him, he sees Nolly jumping towards the ball. Decent 50-50, but still, Endpoint survive. They keep this ongoing. Nice little touch around from there, I will say, but teammates too slow to follow up onto that one, Danny. Nolly will get a clearance downfield, relaying it wave off to the side. Nolly not with the greatest of touches, but will keep her under his control as he looks at Scrub Killer, who is gone out of the server. 3 seconds. Nolly will back him up, but this has just got to be a game of keep away for Singularity right now. Allows time for Scrub to get back in the server, and they have done a fantastic job of it. Excellent, fantastic. Scrub Killer in attacking positions. Relaying Wave will get that away, and Virtuoso dropping this down, but Mets are not ready. Here comes Nolly, bang there at the net, but Relating Wave with the clear straight to Virtuoso, who gets that pass, gets the goal, and gets so much glory. What a transition!
Endpoint was just sitting there, and they were like a trampoline. Anything that bounced on them, it just came back at them. And the transition, the move, Scrub Killer, unlucky to an extent, not getting a touch. And Singularity will be sitting at the chalkboard, drawing some formations, trying a few ideas out, because they have to shake something up here. And Scrub Killer pass 2. It's only Mets the bait there, probably the most dangerous one of the 3 in the defensive department. Nolly high, and Scrub Killer just keeping it high 2, trying to bait out one of Endpoint, waste the boost. None was fault by that play, and that one just goes slightly too wide. 1 minute 40, trails 1 goal Singularity.
Again, positioning Singularity's weak point right now, Danny. Nolly there, just turning in circles, not confident of where he wanted to be. And right there, he redeems himself. Wasn't able to get the last one, but here, he takes it. Makes Virtuoso look silly. Adds Metzer into Boo, into the post, down to goal. And hello, Singularity. You are back in this game.
It's good to see. We said it was match of the day. It's for good reason too. They've been living up to the billing. 2 games gone, they couldn't be separated. Same, our game 3 has gone 4 goals, 2 apace, and Phil looking for their 3rd. They're looking for the 3rd. They've achieved the 3rd.
Singularity have woken up. They seem to be napping back during game 2, but here in game 3, they've had their coffee and they are sprinting towards the finish. What a quick turnaround from them. 2 goals and they make it look easy. Virtuoso, do you have a response? No, what a killer. Just clearance coming out from the Scrub Killer.
It's good. But only Endpoint now has what it takes here, maybe for the comeback. Singularity. Do they park the bus or do they keep on attacking? And so far with Scrub Killer, he wants another bite of Endpoint. Will they happily receive the wishes of the former world champion? Doesn't seem likely. Oh, just leathers it into the corner. And Nolly goes for a quick shot too. Vert deals with it. And Nolly is trying to play Virtuoso style. Demo. And where's the next one? The Demo 2.
Well, Danny, they do say offense is the best defense. If you can keep that ball down into the Endpoint half, should be safer for Singularity, but Virtuoso is on the ball currently. Nice attempt from Nolly, but it's not back to Metzer, who's going for a second touch. Wanted to get to Relay and Wave, and that is going to be a runaway. Scrub Killer with an extra dainty little touch will make it 4-2. Singularity, all wrongs are now written. They look awesome.
It's a decent performance there. Endpoint decides to basically put everything in that one play with 12 seconds left. I don't blame them. It's the right thing to do. We're trying to chase a game. There's no point to that. You might as well go to game 4. Just hammer the domination they had beforehand. Maybe one more consolation. Oh, come on, Scrub. You can hit that in free play. 4-2 in game 3.
Hey, Danny, open goals are the hardest to score. Everyone knows that, come on. But looking at this match, and this is an interesting thing to point out, I think. Relating Wave, the MVP of the match. What went wrong for Endpoint? And Relating Wave was putting off some bangers, but what went wrong there for Endpoint? All I can see is just their defense way too open.
It's just a simple case of they're pushing a little bit too further. They're just moving up the field, and that point they're just losing sort of that deeper line where Messinors is able to ping the ball left and right. Once you basically trying to play too much of the field, well, makes life a little bit more awkward. And Singularity, close it down, plays a bit more compact. They're able to play around it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's even shown there by that field domination stat right at the bottom. Yes, the ball was largely down into the Singularity half, but that was not good for Endpoint. So many up and overs we saw. So many quick, just solo man runaways there. I want to point out Nolly's goal earlier on where he was able to get up over Virtuoso like it's nothing, and then just one simple shot towards the net made it so dang easy for him to just finish it off. So going in here to game number 4, Endpoint down, do you think they can turn it around?
Oh, it's a good question. I would like to see Endpoint bring it to game 5. I think Singularity as will adapt to the situation. It's just depend how much are they willing to play with Metsanors? Is they willing to play defensive more? Or if they are going to have the offense, what they provided in that last 30 seconds to the minute, they're going to have to do it for the full 5 games and do it well.
They are indeed. We're just experiencing a quick technical problem, hence why there's a little delay, but that shouldn't take any time at all to get back on. For me, Danny, this is like one of those things which is so, the tension is building right now, and it is just tantalizing. I want to hop into this game, and it's just being delayed for me. And I can see the players back into the lobby, so all should be fine and well. I'm just there like, I want to get back going. I want to get going right now. Let us onto the pitch, and just being delayed. I sort of, it's one of those things you love but hate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those situations. It's impressive how the light show is going. But, I mean, come on, players. We want to get this going, and the viewers want to get it going. We don't want more of a Rocket League. This is meant to be Rocket League, for goodness sake.
It is indeed. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to hold on for a little bit longer. Looking at this right now, if I'm looking at Endpoint, right? What do we do to change them up? Let's try and, like, you know, put our little coach hats on. Let's get out the chalkboards, Danny, and have a think about what Endpoint need to do to improve themselves. Because right now, yeah, stop overextending. It was, in your words, diabolical at how far deep downfield they were going. I just want them to sort of play a more controlling, more dribble play style, because their 50-50s are still absolutely brilliant.
Well, it is good for the case of it, but just one second before we may break it down. Chalkboard bacon. I know I have the glow from the 1980s here, but surely you'd be more modern with a whiteboard at least.
Mate, I think we're onto smartboards now, buddy. At least when I was back in school, we had smartboards like connected straight up to your PC. So I think that's showing your age, dude. Like, you're that far back. You like, whiteboards are just coming on in for you, aren't they?
Yep, they still are, but bar that factor. Whiteboards, chalkboards, or even those Fandangle smart boards that you've been talking about. Endpoint, they're new, they're fresh, they're well adapted, and Metsanors, one of those players that you look at and you sort of going for the adapting of it. And by the looks of the players are at least retesting the server, must be one of the players having a technical issue. We do apologize for that delay, but it's not really in the case of what Endpoint really needs to do, bar that pushing up. It's what Singularity's done that's been more impressive, though.
Oh, is it? So, well, if you're going to make such a bold statement like that, Danny, do not tease me. Come on. What is it that Singularity have done that has been so impressive for you to turn this series around?
Well, for me, it's one player in particular, and been very, don't get me wrong, I know I'm friends with him behind the scenes, but I'm a heavy critic of him when I'm seeing him on the field. It's Nolly. Nolly, this time around, has been fabulous. He has controlled the game. He's made the air dribbles. He's forced it moved around here. Don't get me wrong, it's a team game here, but Scrub Kill Save has been excellent. It's what Nolly does to complement Scrub, and if they can keep that going well, then we can maybe have a more interesting endpoint how they develop.
Yeah, and for me, it's that interesting part of Nolly is sort of playing just a midfielder, a playmaker as such, and Scrub are able to cover the attack and the defense, and they sort of interchange themselves. But it's that case of they're continuously rotating around Nolly So there's continuously someone that's a third man acting quite smoothly. Nolly's able to play a little bit of disturbance as well in there if he needs to, go for those boost steals. It's just such a comfortable strategy for Singularity right now, which is just making things very awkward for Endpoint, hence why they're trying to force themselves downfield. As we talk about forcing downfield, the players have forced themselves back onto the pitch, and they are ready and raring to go. Endpoint looking raring to go, but Virtuoso not having that shot accuracy that he so dearly needs there.
So it's a situation when you have a slight delay could play a little bit of issue. We talked about Scrub Bacon, we talked about Nolly, but there's one other player here. It's the mighty Tho.
He is so mighty there as he just drops it like it's hot straight down to the net. And it is looking good. Singularity pick up where they left off. Endpoint have got to be quivering in their boots.
Shaken. But will it be stirred though? And Singularity, they're just going on the demo though. Will Nolly turn? He's just being slightly shy, rightly so. His Relating Wave is breathing down. Will it was going dribble? Quick shots. He went for the 50 though, and that's in the middle of the box. Scrub deals, dealt with it, and Relating Wave to pick up the sticks again.
Quickly though, look at the boost of Singularity. They are completely filled. Oh, on the line, Virtuoso keeps out, and we've got a Rule 1 currently going on. Sorry, Rule 2. I'm being dumb there. Rule 2. I'm sorry. But look at that. Going Relay Wave. Look, we all make slip-ups. You know, you hear people saying it wrong, and it all gets in your head a little bit. Oof. But right now, no one's getting in the heads of each other. This game just keeps on nodding along.
Well, nodding along there, subpar and hit stay has also their 10 commandments. Even they weren't brave enough to say rule 1 or 2. I will happily correct that one. As though, on the other hand, it's trying to correct Endpoint's offense here as it was shut down for the moment. Metenčuks tries to go near and dealt with by Scrubkiller again.
Oh, another beautiful demo coming out. Double onto Singularity, but it still does not sink the ship. Another attack coming out from Relating Wave. Virtuoso looking for another demo, this time on low. Is deep downfield. No more boost, so this is going to be a long, long walk back to his side of the pitch. Though up in the air, and Scrubkiller was as well. A double commit. It's not going to help them on out. Virtuoso with 50 left in the tank uses a lot of it to get this ball wrapped around to the corner. Really finds no one with it, Danny. A futile attempt, if I ever saw one.
Well, we've seen 1 or 2 on the night here, but when a pivotal series like Endpoint Singularity in Game 4, you're trailing 1-0, Endpoint has to do something there, and futile is not a mode you want to be on. It has to be aggressive, it has to be proactive here, and Nolly, what a pass to throw creativity, but really we have snuffed it out here. Half the game remains, 1-0 it trails for Endpoint.
And you can't believe, look, you can't think of the word, Danny. I've been stupefied. You can't blame, though, because Relating Wave is in his blind spot. You know, you've only got 110 degrees of POV in Rocket League, and right there, Relating Wave was out of sight, so naturally, not being able to see the lad, he's going to take his time, try and bring that on in. It will allow time for his teammates to move into position as well, but Relating Wave has just been absolutely zooming left, right, and center on this pitch. Really, for me, so far, has definitely been the MVP of Endpoint. But if we're talking about an MVP of this entire series, this lad has really pulled himself into contention.
What a fabulous moment there. The English had William Shakespeare, the esports has Digital Bacon with Stupefy. But right now, Singularity is bringing out the minds. And so far, that force of Endpoint cannot carry the textbooks that these lads are playing at the moment, as Tho deals with the moment, and Metenčuks, well, let's see maybe what the professor can deal with.
Let's see what he can do. Relating Wave blocked out by Tho. He's going to take it slowly up the wall. His teammates need to get in place, and that's an interesting little pop. Virtuoso not seeing it at all. Nolly up in the air saw that, but Relating Wave got there early. Metza out wide, and that's another charge. She's going to follow through with it. Good block out from Scrubkiller, though. lends a hand. Scrub going to be needed once again. Bounces into Virtuoso. Relaying Wave pulled out. But once again, the last man of Endpoint keeps this ball locked down into Singularity half. They just cannot get anything away. They finally do downfield, but this is not confident at all for me, Danny.
These are the bottom 16 playing for the qualification. Well, they are meant to be scrapping for the right to join the others. And so far, Endpoint, they're having a sticky situation here. They have to find a way out of it in 30 seconds to deal with it for 2 goals. And so far, they've been pushed back. Mets over to Vert. Wave, and he worked on targets. And he decides to get a lawnmower out.
Just cutting grass right now. Fortunately, he needs to do more than that. Send the ball to net. Finish it off. It's looking a little bit dodgy as 5 seconds remain. Singularity looking to take it, and no, that was their last chance. It is done. It is over. Singularity will be going through to the finals of the qualifications. They'll be playing tomorrow night and looking good on the pitch like they have done so far, though gets the final MVP award. But realistically, Singularity have had to pull themselves up so much from that Game 2 loss that it is just incredible to see that these lads have got that rebound factor to them in such a strong, dominating way.
Oh, you have to agree with that. Endpoint, to be fair to them, they looked fabulous in their first series. It wasn't a case they played bad. They made 1 or 2 errors. That's expected. But again, it's how often, it's consistency. Singularity sorted theirs out. Endpoint failed to adapt. And for Endpoint, yes, sadly in their case, they dropped down to the lowers. But thankfully, we do get to see them tomorrow, Bacon.
We do indeed get to see them tomorrow. And I can't wait for that. But one thing as well I can't wait for is getting Jam back onto the mic. Jam, quick thoughts of that game?
Wow. Just wow. Maybe wow like 4 times and then the chat is disabled, but we expected this game to be a doozy, and it was indeed just that. I had a mind to maybe ask you what was your favorite game throughout the day, but I think there's no questions. Yeah, we had a 5-game series. We had 2 sweeps, but really I think by the fierceness of the play and what's really was both on the line and in between the teams, I think there's no denying that it was Team Singularity versus Endpoint. That was the perfect bookend for this day, and also a highlight of what exactly is still to come. And I'm sure you guys are also sharing my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, what a way to end this on. And I'm looking forward as well tomorrow, seeing the very first match on stream. It is going to be Endpoint once again. They're up against Solari, so I feel like that's an awesome way to finish, because Endpoint tomorrow have to pick up and redeem themselves straight away, which is so tantalizing, isn't it?
Well, it's an early start for them and an early go. I think against Solari, they might stand a good enough chance, but only time will tell. Of course, tomorrow we're going to be having 5 games, including the winners finals between Top Blokes and Team Singularity. Teams vying for that one of the spots going into the group stage. Whoever is going through the upper bracket is going to meet Dignitas, and team going through the lower bracket is going to meet Renault Vitality. And honestly, it's really hard to pick which ones you would want to get, one way or the other. The team that gets to the qualification stage definitely will be the one that, well, definitely going to have some rough time up ahead. So everyone better be ready. But that's all tomorrow. But we have a long day today of Rocket League. We have started with a banger of 5 games. Really, Top Blokes and Solari has set up the mood for the whole week. Then, of course, an unexpected sweep from Endpoint. We were thinking maybe Monkeys, or an expected sweep from the Endpoint, seemingly who have presented somewhat an unsolvable playstyle for Monkeys, who never could figure out exactly what they need to do. Later, we, of course, saw Top Blokes again making the headlines. That was an unexpected win against Giants Gaming. Really, everyone here on the desk in the casting booth were thinking, how did we get it so wrong? And yet, Top Blokes have definitely proved us completely wrong. And as a little dessert at the very end, of course, it's Team Singularity defeating Endpoint. But what a game that was, and really to end on it, it's an absolute beaut. Anything else to add before we go and end up and finish up the streams?
Well, I've got one question actually, Jam, and unfortunately it's not for you, it's for Danny.
Of course.
When we look at Monkeys today, after getting 3-0'd, that you're going to be, you commentated over them earlier. What do you think they need to do to really pull out for tomorrow? Because Giants Gaming is like, you know, after Endpoint, that's out of the frying pan into the fire, isn't it? So do you think they can pull it back tomorrow?
I think they can. I think they were somewhat unlucky. They were playing again, as we saw in the brackets. Game 1 was the crux of it. The fact that they win the OT, that was just a killer blow for them. If they can get over that hurdle, they could make a run, and I sincerely hope so.
And Bacon, a question for you from me, though. You are also going to be tomorrow on the desk talking about our very first game, which is going to be Solari versus Endpoint. How you are feeling that's going to go?
See, that's a weird one as well, because typically, like, when I'm looking at Endpoint and Solari, I think Endpoint, that disruption playstyle can beat out Solari. But Solari are still getting used to Ukis, aren't they, on that side? So, whilst I don't think it's been an upgrade bringing in Ukis, I quite like Melo Shishu. That's just personal bias, and I think after today's game, where they're going to be able to go away and look over their thoughts, especially since, you know, with top blokes on really good form today, Solari didn't play bad at all. I think Solari can be able to go away, see what top blokes were doing to nullify them, to just etch them on out in the end. And I think Solari are going to come back tomorrow super strong. I'm worried for Endpoint.
Well, folks, set your timers for tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central European Summer Time, as we're going to return with the second day of Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix. But for today, that is it. We saw some fantastic Rocket League. Big thanks to all of our casters today who have been present. Boyo, Craftman, Danny, Digital Bacon, thanks for joining us at the very end. And of course, Joessi. Big shout outs to Benso, our broadcaster. And really, there's so many people to thank. Spleen and John, like always, were responsible for creating those games that we showed on screen. The overlay that everyone who loved so much, both in the Twitch chat and on social media. All credit for that goes to Eskimon, Plasim, and Rurik. Lukash was on Twitter posting all of the fantastic goals that were happening all throughout, and Sparta was making sure that everything on the stream was working well. And going forward, this tournament, of course, wouldn't be possible without Cyanic sponsorship, so thanks very much to them. And finally, of course, thanks to everyone who has been watching and cheering for your favorite teams and players. Again, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central European Summertime for the second day of the qualification stage of the Rocket Baguette Summer Grand Prix. We'll see you then.